Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mythic Initiative. My name is Chris, and I will be your keeper for these preceding evenings. With that, we got a lovely episode for you and another guest. But first, let's introduce these lovely folks, starting off with C.
Hi everyone, my name is C. I use they them pronouns. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at C Plays RPG. If you don't know what I am doing, that's okay, because I don't either. That went on just a total tangent of where I thought I was going to go for that introduction because I remembered that I didn't set up half the overlays, so we are just going to be on all of us for the whole time, except for when Nick and Chris are on the same one. I was so thrilled with myself being like, I got it done, everything's ready. It's not, I'm too sweaty. But if it's 90 degrees in my... This is too long. Nick?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick, also known as Nobleman Nick, which you can find me on Twitter and most social media. I'm a TTRPG producer, designer, writer. I'm a lover, fighter, and all-around Mythic fun guy. I'm glad to be here. Chris was a longtime friend, longtime collaborator, so I'm super happy that you brought me out with all these awesome people. Let's get in, let's have fun, and let's be gay, yo.
Speaking of gay, hi guys. I'm Vin at VinBoxVA on Twitter. Voice actor, tabletop performers, la di da. I'll be playing Heaven, the Fallen, and I'm gonna throw it to Hamna.
Oh my god, it's me! Hi everybody, my name is Hamna, I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. You can find me all over social media at Lilith TTRPG, and today I will be playing Misfit, who uses he, they pronouns. Misfit is the summoned who I think just very recently learned that their partner is a liar. Just big fat liar. So that's... sucks. I'm gonna pass it over to CJ, who, by the way, everybody say happy belated birthday to CJ in chat. It was their birthday yesterday. Okay, go CJ.
Whoa, didn't see you there.
Birthday.
Hi, it's me, CJ, doing bits from the Mythic Initiative that was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. If you don't know that bit, go watch the episodes. We're very funny here. Hi, as Hamna has already put me on blast, it was my birthday. That's about it. I'm like 27. I will be playing Vic today, the hungry, the best of us, who's never done anything wrong a day in their life. If you like what I do, I'll tell you about it later. Anyway, that's all I got. Passing it back to Chris.
Fantastic. With that, we have a lovely cast here, and before we start our episode, a lovely reminder of all those CWs. If you type in the chat !CW, for this particular episode in particular, there is, for content warnings, fantasy violence, apocalypse, gore, blood, familial struggles, references to insects or bugs, body horror, drug abuse, severe weather, romance, and references to sexual entanglements, monsters and monstrosities, references to epidemics and diseases, and trauma. If none of this fits your boat, here we go, English is already dragging off. If none of this is your fit, there's a plethora of lovely content out there for you all to enjoy. With that, before I make any more grammatical mistakes, Mythics, are we ready to start? Fantastic. With that, I will start not on our Mythics, but on our lovely guest. As we see our camera zoom through what looks like to be somewhere in Pennsylvania. Specifically, it's nighttime, the night is starry, it's just a cool summer night in a small little town in a place called Gehenna Valley. We kind of zoom through the various buildings of this town, but not into any particular building, but we find ourselves in the deep of the woods as it zooms in on what looks like to be some sort of professor. Nick, please describe your character for us.
So Carlisle is about 6'1". He's a little bit older, probably in like maybe early 40s, late 30s. Salt and pepper hair. Long kind of cascades down to his shoulders, a little bit of gruff peach fuzz, 5 o'clock shadow, as it were. and just kind of like these circular glasses, like perfect circles that just kind of sit on his face. Bangs hanging slightly, that he's always kind of adjusting by running his hand through his hair. And he is just dressed kind of like your typical teacher with just the shirt, tie, sweater vest, long pants, even though it's blazing hot out, even for the nighttime. And he's on the prowl right now.
Indeed, you are. For you went around just to check. Town, it's been a little dodgy, a little tense. There's been a lot of murders, and, the school just wants to make sure all the students are okay, even though the town should be really scared of the students. But that's a whole nother thing. At the moment, you did notice there are some dorm kids. You kind of went around, make the rounds. Some of them did get out. Some of them are in the woods, and right now you are looking for them. I think, just to start us off, just kind of, I'm assuming, are you using your abilities, or are you kind of just, naturally walking through?
No, unfortunately, my abilities are a little bit of a sore spot for Carlisle. So I think he's just trying to do this the old-fashioned way.
Fantastic. Then we don't have to roll anything. You're kind of, you're not using your abilities. I mean, your, night sense is one of those more passive things. So it's not too bad, but, it would go a lot faster if you did it the other way. But again, sore topic. With that, it takes maybe about a couple minutes until you hear and see the fires of what looks like to be a couple of the kids from the school, the college. You see they're out and about partying at the moment. You can hear cans being crushed, which means they're drinking. You don't know how long, but enough that they don't care about the kind of noise they're making, and particularly the fire that does seem to be burning a little bit out of control. How do you approach the situation as you see these kids being, well, kids?
Just giving the deepest of sighs and like arms crossed. They're gonna burn down the forest. Like yeah, kids be kids, I guess, but this is just too much, and I just got to put a stop to this, and I'm gonna march over there, like I run this place, or at least with the authority that I do.
Fantastic. You coming out the woods. You see, there's a couple of students here. You see it's a mix of, kids that, students that go to the college who have been here, your juniors, your seniors. Well, you do notice there's a couple of, sophomores, and even what looks like to be freshmen from O week or orientation week. Particularly, you could see the main culprits. You're kind of scanning of like, okay, which one of these little bastards? And you can tell who it is. As you see what looks like to be the skirmish captain, Drago. He's a werewolf, light brown skin. You see he's got that sort of goatee that he's kind of formed for himself. Junior going into his senior year. And you see long dark hair. You see he's kind of just crushing what looks like to be a beer at the moment until, throws it. And immediately as he hits it into the fire, he sees just your face darting over him and he goes, "Professor! Hey!"
Not with the shit. You know why I'm here. You're not allowed to be out. There's a curfew involved. The whole town's on alert. You realize you're setting yourself up, right? This is, I'm sure you've seen one of those new slasher movies that came out, right? Like you've seen the latest Halloween. You know what happens here?
Teach. And you see him just pick up one of the nearby students that's on a bench. I think I'm all right, Teach. Ain't nothing out here gonna hurt me with a stray bullet. I doubt the people in the town are packing silver bullets. I think I'm okay, Teach. I think you just need to lighten up, my guy. You see he kind of opens a can, gives it to you, just like, come on, let loose, Teach. Doesn't hurt.
Carlo just slaps it out of his hand. I am your teacher, first and foremost. And when I say, get back in the goddamn house, you get back in the goddamn house. Am I understood?
Yes.
Or do I need to take that varsity jacket of yours too?
No. You see all the students are immediately getting up and packing. Fine, yeah, Teach. All right, everybody. Captain Buzzkill here. Just, let's just go, everybody. And you see one of the students like, but we're missing one, aren't we? Are we? Are we missing one? You see kind of looking around. Yeah, the new kid. We're missing a new kid. Oh, crap. Teach, do you want me to go
New
look
kid?
for the new kid? Yeah, you know, the... You see one of them is like, what is his name again? Is it like Jamie or something like that? I don't know. Yeah, he's one of the kids from O-Team.
All right, the rest of you go back as a group. You and what was his name again? I'm sorry, I didn't get that the first time.
Drago.
Drago, yes, Drago, skirmish captain. And you, Mr. Captain, you come with me.
But Teach, it's late. I'm tired.
No, you drug out freshmen here. Freshmen. These kids are still minors.
They're adults in like a month. They're fine. Like, fine. And
You sure as shit. Jamie better not be hurt.
It's not gonna, what's gonna hurt? He's immortal. Ain't nothing gonna kill him. As he says that, you hear immediately, just almost like an echo through the night sky, you hear just a blood-curdling as it echoes through. You see on his face, he kind of looks scared of like, what was that?
Go get the headmaster.
What
are you doing? Go get the headmaster.
Yeah. You see he transforms into a wolf, still a little drunken, and he's kind of got a step on him, but he begins to make his way. What are you doing?
I'm rushing towards the blood-curdling scream.
With that, you kind of have that heart beating in your chest, a little bit of sweat. You're kind of rushing through the foliage as you have to sort of not caring about twigs or trees or anything hitting in your path. You get a couple of scrapes, but as you kind of run through, you find yourself at one of the nearby lakes that is near the academy, and you see it across the across the pond due to your sight, and what you see horrifies you. You see the body of the so-called student dead, and not in a quick way. You see that their body is slumped against a tree. You see their face has been tampered with, but you see that it's almost like somebody ate his stomach out piece by piece. As you see, it's almost like clawed out, and bits of it inside were like sort of beaten, broken off, and chewed up. Someone just ate one of the students. And before you're able to react, even get to the student, you can see the police sirens somehow maybe must have heard it quicker than the others, or maybe you, pulling up as you see that the nearby town is about to find this body. And from the distance you are, and your willingness that you are not going to do what your powers are, the school's about to be in very big trouble.
Okay. And just, I think Carlisle turns to look one more time and wants to go over, wants to get the body, but just does not have the time. But what I think is going to happen is I think Carlisle's going to feel almost like a tightening in his head, because he doesn't really get to choose when these happen, but Nick gets to choose, and that's what I'm choosing. As he kind of grips one of the trees, and I think one of his visions is about to come on. As I'm going to try to peer into the past about this, about what just happened, which is not normally what I can do, but
no, finagle. We don't play by rules here. We finagle them. With that, if you would be so kind, say what that move is, and then you can roll for that if you do have to roll.
Let me bring it up really quick. Ooh. So I think is this power through darkness? Because I'm trying to do something.
Yes, if it's not a specific move, I would say power through darkness, because you're kind of extraneating yourself here.
Yeah, let's bring on the consequences early.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me know what you get.
I'm gonna roll it in. All right. Curse of the Power by Apocalypse, don't take me now. And that is what do I add to Power Through the Darkness?
Nothing,
Anything?
unless you have any
Nothing.
dark. You don't have any darkness tokens against you. It's just a straight
No.
roll.
Oh, that's a failure. That's beautiful.
Fantastic. With that, the keeper will offer you something connected to what the darkness demands of you. You try to get a sense. It's almost in a sense you have to run away, as the vision that's before you isn't of this scenario, but of the future instead. You see the forest is burning bright. It is all over the place. The heat, you can feel it even though it's not there. And you can see there is something in those flames. Bright eyes, almost made of starlight skin, but in a very monstrous pose. As it begins to chase you and almost scratch you before your vision cuts as you find yourself panting on the ground, knowing that something horrible is coming for this school and soon.
I think Carlisle, just taking the toll of his power, pulls his eye slightly down as we see a tiny moth escape from underneath the eyelid and flutter into the night.
With that, I think, almost like another vision upon itself, heaven, as we return back to one of our mythics that have been away for a while. You wake up in a cold sweat as the events that happened right now appear. It's almost in a sense of you were watching this, in a sense. You don't know if this was a vision or if it was a dream. It's hard nowadays, especially with your new condition. In the moment, you find yourself in one of the dorm rooms. You've kind of been staying here. The others have gone to go work with the division, but you are not really feeling too up to it. And given your condition, they sent you to some folks who know a little bit more about what they're doing. Gehenna Academy. At the moment, you are bunking with someone. As you're sort of waking up in sort of that cold sweat, you can see what looks like to be your undead roommate. Specifically, you see the individual kind of go, what happened? As you see very undead skin, almost like bluish in nature, still parts of their flesh that haven't necessarily healed. You could see that they kind of jerk up too fast and their neck tendons kind of break and sort of have to hold their head up a little bit as they're still getting used to being undead. There seem to be recent. Another fellow of your condition, as you see, kind of goes, what is it this time? You know this to be Cass.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. I just had a dream. I guess it's considered a dream. I'm sorry. You're safe to. Do you need something for?
I got it. You see, he pulls
a
out
scarf, maybe something to hold that in place.
You see, he pulls out a sewing kit and begins to just reattach the tendons.
And disgusting. Good for you.
Sorry, I know it freaks people out. It kind of like turns over to the wall as he does it. It's fine. What's up? What did you dream about now?
No, I don't want to bother you with my nonsense. I think I'm gonna go take a walk. So you can work on that. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You see, he kind of finishes up. See, he finishes the job and kind of. Yeah. All right, that's better. You need somebody to walk with, or you good?
No, I'm good. I can walk. I never felt better. And their face, like when they smile, the fissures in their face just crack with it. So it's just more stretches of gold on like their glass-like appearance. Thanks, though, and they just kind of awkwardly shuffle out of the room after sliding on some shoes, and they're in some nice pajamas.
Fantastic. As you kind of proceed to go out, you're currently on like one of the second floors of the dorm, so you kind of get a nice view of the atrium. You see it's morning. Even though it's kind of summertime, you see it's orientation week, which means that a lot of new kids are coming, checking out the campus to see if like, is this for me? Again, only monsters because it's a monster kind of school. The last thing they want is a bunch of mortals running around unless they have some sort of magical property to them. But for the most part, it's a very lax season. It's summer semester. Not much is happening. My question for you, because this kind of affects the attitude people have had here, have you mentioned Eden at all in terms of your relation to them, or would you have kept that a secret?
I mean, I'm only here for a little while. No one really needs to know who I am or who I'm associated with. Not out of embarrassment or fear, just, just keeping it very simple. For the first time, I can be just Heaven. Surname pending.
Fantastic. You've been here a couple weeks, and even though you're in recovery, it's been kind of great. I mean, no hunting whatsoever, no destiny to worry about. I mean, Eden, love them, but you don't have to worry about any of, the complicated stuff that goes with being a sibling. But for the moment, you can be you. It's kind of freeing, really, and kind of doing your walkabout. It's almost like, you go to school here. You get the occasional, hey, what's up? Everybody tries to be, friendly in a manner. Nobody's giving you a really hard time. And as you're kind of walking through, you do notice the headmaster kind of pulls up. You see what looks like to be this sort of Hispanic Cuban woman, probably looks about maybe mid-50s, darkish skin, sort of hair that's still brown but beginning to slightly gray. Not necessarily a little hunched in their demeanor. They're a hell of a lot taller, but they don't have that correct posture. You see they kind of pulled up and go, hola, how are we doing this fine morning, Haven?
I'm as well as I can be, thank you, Headmaster. How are you?
I am doing quite fine. I heard that you had a night terror again. Is everything all right? Do we need someone to look at you?
I think news spreads quickly, but yes, I did. I saw an incident, someone being murdered in the woods.
Ah, I see. I was hoping what I'd heard last night was only a rumor, but apparently not.
Excuse me?
You see the kind of gesture. Can you please walk with me, Haven?
Of course, of course.
The two of you begin to walk around the atrium. And you see the kind of... Gehenna Academy is a very special place, as you know. In a world that fears monsters quite constantly, we protect and nurture them. But I'm afraid that coexistence, that hospitality that we have been so gracious in providing for our students is in danger. The incident that you heard is very true, and a student of ours has died. You see they kind of take a moment and stop, and you see there's a very big, heavy sigh of, this can't be happening to them, but it is. Sort of that burden of leadership. It is very problematic, and I do not wish to ask anything of you. You are a guest, you are a student, but I was wondering if we can call upon your family for help.
I don't see why not.
Very curious. What do you think about this as that kind of request is made? What is going in your mind?
It was nice while it lasted.
Indeed it was. So you see they kind of go, fantastic. And you haven't had the encounter yet, but when you do tell them about, coming here, can you please let them know to maybe disguise Eden or to hide their identity in some form of clothing of something of that nature? I do not think the school is ready to deal with that aspect of that reality yet. One crisis at a time.
Understood. I'll make note to them.
Thank you. You see they kind of head off. If you need anything else, please let me know. And you see they kind of walk off.
And their forehead cracks as soon as the headmaster turns around.
Fantastic. With that, I'm assuming you call. Is there anything, do you want to play that out, or you think it's okay to sort of cut to the rest of the group here? It's up to you.
I think it's fine to just cut to everybody
Fantastic.
arriving.
So with that, the rest of you guys, you're currently you're driving there at the moment. The teleporter has been a little bit on the fritz ever since the whole tier magic fight thing, so they got you as close as they can, but at the moment you're taking a taxi as you're kind of driving through the woods. You see it's almost that very stereotypical kind of, open country, kind of very thick in the woods. You see the heavy mist that comes off. It's a nice summer day, so nothing too crazy at the moment as all three of you are in a taxi right now. With that, anything we want to get off our chest, or do we just quietly sit among each other? As you do know, this is the first time Heaven has called all you to, meet up. So this is a first in quite a while. You're muted, CJ.
My mic was off. I have a question explicitly for Vinvox VA. Who did you call, though?
They're gonna call Eden. Who else would they call?
That's fine. So that Vic just kind of is staring out of the window, kind of like wistfully, which you'd think it'd be wistfully. It's mostly boredom. And they go, why are we going to a school again?
Because Heaven asked us to, and so did Division. And Eden is in the back seat with Vic, maybe? Or in the back seat with Vic. And they're using a little pocket mirror to put lipstick on. Their hair has been, thoroughly washed, combed, and brushed. And, I think has been maybe dyed, black a little bit on the ends to give them a kind of, ombre look. And they're, putting on full red lipstick. They're not dressed in their leather jacket, suit, patron saint core. It's low cut black dress with a slit up the side of the thigh. They definitely raided Heaven's deep closet in there, really, really deep closet, pick from there. And they're trying their best to put lipstick on, and after they answer they go, is this enough? Do I not look like myself?
And I think Vic has a lot of mixed emotions about this outfit right now. Most of them confused. And Vic just kind of looks at you and goes, no, you missed a spot, and then takes the lipstick and kind of readjusts it on your lips and fixes it. It's there you go. You're bad at makeup.
Did you make me look like a clown again?
No, I just, and then shows you the mirror and it looked perfect.
Oh.
No, I just fixed it.
Okay. That's not so bad then. And
yeah.
I think this golden script, they've tried to cover it up with concealer, but it's trying to cover up full body dark glowing gold tattoos, so it only sort of works. Right, and you
trying
see,
your best, not to sweat or smudge, especially in summer heat. It's just you're playing a dangerous game right now.
Yeah, they're playing a very dangerous game.
Yeah, I think Vic just hands you her jean jacket, and it's just wear this. Don't. You're trying to put makeup on your shoulders. We're about to be walking in the sun.
I mean, did I miss a spot?
You miss a lot of spots.
Fuck me. And Eden shrugs on the jean jacket.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Misfit is in the passenger seat of this taxi, sitting next to the driver, and has been, for the most part, elbow up against the window, head resting on his chin, and is very quiet, I think, throughout this entire car ride. and occasionally just keeps looking and watching what is happening in the back seat through the mirror, through the rear view mirror, and sees Eden's different look, and it already stings enough that Eden's not wearing the leather jacket that he gave them, by the way. It's his jacket that they're not wearing. But then seeing Vic give their jacket to Eden, I think Misfit just kind of like tries so hard not to look in the rearview mirror, but their eyes just keep flitting back over to it, and they're not really able to like stop looking at Eden. And it's like if Eden were to catch Misfit's eyes in the mirror, the look that you would see is like one of, he's looking at someone that he doesn't recognize. And that has so much more to do with everything that has gone on than it does with the fact that you are purposefully trying to look not like yourself right now.
Eden is bad about catching your eyes in the mirror. That direct gaze hardly ever falls on you. But I think for a moment it does, that strange faraway look, and they open their mouth like they're gonna say something, and then their gaze flicks almost past you in the mirror, like they're looking at someone standing behind you in the mirror. And I'd like to use my move for the top of session, Chris, Devil's Advocate.
Please do, as you look towards the mirror and you're like, Misfit's there, but you see there's almost like a bright smile on their face as you see your mentor is now, for whatever reason, chosen the exact form Misfit is right now, smiling and talking in their very voice. Hey there. Looking at something?
I'm just gonna roll. Fuck you for that, Chris. Jesus Christ. How's a 2? How's a 2 do me? Just wondering how a 2 does me. Wondering how snake eyes are for me at this moment in my life.
Your mentor's really been messing with your head because they've been choosing forms which are kinda rough. For this in particular, because you failed, dying warning or difficult orders from your mentor. They will tell you what happens next. As you see that they very sultry kind of go, well, you failed to bring back Tyr. I don't know why you keep staring at this bubbling idiot, to be very honest. I mean, I do get the appeal. As you see, they slightly flex in certain places.
Don't call him that. They say out loud in the car.
You see the driver kind of, what? Huh?
Nothing. Sorry. They lean back.
Just wanted to give you a little heads up because I'm a malevolent being. You're going to a very dangerous place with some very dangerous individuals, but there is a prime opportunity for you if you do manage to bypass all the dangers.
Like what?
Well, for instance, a coworker of yours works at this school. And plus, they may have some information about you-know-who's mother as they sort of point to themselves.
We already know that, don't we? Are you going to give me any new information, or just keep playing with me?
Oh, you'll find out. I don't want to roil the surprise. Let's just say your other half spent quite some time here, but let's not get into it, shall we? Enjoy your trip. And don't forget to bring up a brochure. You always want to think about the future. As you see, it goes back to Misfit's normal posture as they're not looking at you at the moment.
Just leave me alone. Eden says again out loud before like slumping against the car seat and looking out the window.
For pain reasons, can I say that Misfit was looking actually in the mirror at that moment?
Sure! Just their eyes kind of, it was almost like the sense of like if you're putting an image on an image, see the eyes just go back as you just look and then they look away.
So Misfit thinks that you're talking to them. when you say that. And they shrink even further, I think, into the seat, up against the window and up against the door. Like they are trying so hard to just, like, they're like moments away from opening the car door and just tuck and rolling out of it at any moment now. They're just kind of like curled up, wanting to die, honestly.
What a normal car ride we're having here. This is
Yeah,
good
the
for us.
driver's feeling a lot of like tension. They're just a normal, just a regular human. It's just like,
Yeah. I think there's a moment where, because Vic, I don't know if Vic cares or is paying attention to whatever the fuck is going on between those two, but like a song comes on the radio and it's like Vic's like, hell yeah, and like reaches up, like not asking anyone, turns up the radio and it's like, ooh, baby T.
as that music is blaring as you kind of come around the mountainside. At the moment, your guys are kind of driving through, and you see what looks like to be a town for the most part. You didn't get too much, as it was kind of, you guys gotta get out there. But this is kind of coming through. You can see Gehenna Valley. It is a very quaint town, your standard, Midwestern American 80s town. It's got everything you need from the basic necessities. You can see that there's a suburbs a little way out, so it's a quaint town, medium population, nothing too, crazy, nothing too big. And kind of driving through, you can see people are going about their day. It's summer, so, it's a little empty because people, they're out vacationing, but the people who stay seem to be just a good old folk of communities. Vic, just by quick screenings, all mortals, not to be anything magical about them. You may get a couple places where it's got like a stench, almost like an incentive, something magical was there. But as you guys continue driving, you kind of go a little bit past, a little bit more into the thick of the forest there. And as you're kind of driving up, you get to what looks like to be a vestige of this magnificent, almost college-like campus. It is indescribable for you in particular, Vic, as it's almost like getting hit with like a buffet and just the sense of smells that kind of come roaming off, as it's a variety of new, ancient, and quite spicy individuals that seem to be in here. As unlike the town, it's full of monsters, monstrosities, mythical, and magical creatures inside. Kind of pulling up, you see the taxi driver lets you guys through, and as you kind of walk through, it's a little bit weird. It's almost in the sense of off-putting for you, because for the most part, you have to hide who you are. And here, you see students are straight up, for the moment, you see they kind of go in monster mode in a sense. You can see almost like other sirens who have their sort of fish scales out. You can see what it looks like to be just a werewolf student that's just skateboarding through the hallways. You see one of them is just like, hey, knock it off. As you see, he has to transform right quick and grab his skateboard as he heads over to class. You can see there's a number of individuals here. For the most part, you do notice that the guy in the hallway is trying to keep everybody normal, because apparently you can see that there's a special parking spot that says for new guest or whatever. See what looks like to be a pickup truck, and you can clearly see it's almost like in invisible or magic ink that you guys can see for the most part that says mortal, keep calm, in a sense of like, if somebody parks here, it's a normie, watch out, let's not freak them out. For the moment. So you see the guy who's currently doing it. If you want to get a little bit more of a description of the person, you see there seem to be middle-aged Filipino man. You see he's kind of got a lot of wrinkles upon his face. Not in terms of old age, but stress in particular. You see he's got black hair that's graying right, like by the moment. Very much in a professor's kind of just like sleeves rolled up. You see he kind of goes, well, hello there. Can I help you?
This is a normal person or just a monster that looks stressed?
I think for you in particular, as they sort of approach, you feel almost like a connection in your head as you kind of like wince. And it's almost like in a sense of when, almost like bugs or creatures that have sort of like some sort of like hive mind or sort of that location between one another. You begin to sort of wince as it's almost like recognition of another being of its same properties.
Yeah, and I think there is because Vic's gotten better at being hungry as best as she can be given the situation of everything. No longer salivates when there's an overwhelming buffet. But even like Gehenna Academy is deeply impressive for like the amount of like shit that's going on. But I think this is the moment where Vic kind of like not cracks a little, but like on the arm, like not hair raising up, but like the skin turns to bug and then like turns back, kind of breaks the facade, and Vic's like, whoa. Hello.
You see they kind of respond, but instead of insect-like skin, you see it's almost rocky, earth-like that forms on theirs. And you see, almost like not even paying attention to everybody else, kind of goes, "Are you a Sapphin?"
Not the voice I was expecting. Yeah, why?
I didn't. You see, there's a look of surprise on his face. I mean, I knew there were others out there, but I just didn't think. There was. I didn't believe it, to be honest.
Yeah, I met one once. It didn't go too well. So as long as you're not going to turn into a big monster and then, I don't know, eat someone.
No, that's not what we do. You see, he puts a hand out. Professor Dara, it's a pleasure to meet all of you. I'm guessing you're the PIs or the help that we got here.
That we are. I'm looking for my sister, Heaven.
Yeah. If you want, you can just follow me. Welcome to Gehenna Academy. Kind of walking through, gives a quick spiel. It's like, we've been serving the young minds of the supernatural community for about the 20s, and I've been doing that for quite some time. We offer your skill, regular college courses and degrees, but we also do have those other classes in terms of supernatural biology, angelic wardings, and all the other wonderful stuff that one may need to survive in that harsh world we live in. It is a pleasure to meet all you. As he gives a nod to each of you, except for you, Eden, as he seems to know who you are, but just almost like being respectful, but also dismissive of just like, it's a pleasure to meet all you. If you follow me, begins to walk you down. What's going through your heads as you're being walked through what equivocally is a place where you could have been you. You could have, whether college was on your mind or not, you could have had a normal-ish life without Naomi here, but, what's going through your heads?
The first thing... Please.
No, go.
No, please.
For Misfit, they are trying to do everything that they can within their power to not think about and not have their attention directed towards Vic and Eden and whatever is going on over there. And so I think he is purposefully schooling his thoughts into a particular direction, and that direction is his mother. They were told that there's somebody here that can offer information about his mother and what happened to her and all of that. And so I think they are kind of fiddling with the necklace that they always wear, his mother's necklace, as they are moving through campus. And I think they are also paying very close attention to everybody that is on this campus, trying to see if there is anyone that is remotely similar to the kind of being that his mother was. I mean, there's a bunch of monsters here, right? Like, it's not impossible. So I think they're very carefully scanning all of the students that we pass.
Yeah, I think looking through, you're not seeing anything of an alien origin. There are monsters here, but you do get you don't know necessarily, you do see a couple kids right now, currently, they're throwing a football, but with their minds at the moment. They seem to just be like, catch! And just catches it with his mind. I got you, bro! And he just throws it back. You see again, Dara gives him a cold stare, just like, knock that shit off! And he goes, alright! And then kind of float away. You do also notice that, not really looking for it, you do notice there are other demons here. They're currently, you see they got their own little clique. They're kind of to themselves, hanging out. They see you. They don't pay you any mind. They don't really know who you are or what what you really are. They just look, glance, go about their day.
I think the embarrassing thing happens of like Misfit sees the demon students and like goes to give them like a very familiar nod as if to say like, hey, like, yeah, like, like we're the same. Like, the thing you do when you pass someone on the street and that you're like, you see another queer person or like another person of color and you're like, yeah, like, hey, like, and he goes to do that every time that he sees a demon, forgetting that they don't have their horns, they don't have their eyes, they're different, like none of it is clicking, and every time they get confused as to why nobody seems to respond in kind.
Yeah, it's very just like very white people, just like, hello my brothers. It's just like, okay, and just they go about again very just like, okay, normie. But with that, you guys proceed to continue off, and as you get closer to what looks like to be more halls, again very aesthetic wise, dark academia, very almost kind of like that Oxford kind of feel of the architecture of it. So it's a very grandiose kind of architecture, which is really weird because it kind of makes it look like a sore thumb compared to the town that's like downstairs, down the street. But for the most part, as you're getting closer, you begin to hear sort of the muffling of shouting. You see Dara kind of go, oh no. You see he begins to run towards what looks like to be the headmaster's office. Do you guys just continue at a regular pace, or do you kind of just, rush with him?
I think Vic continues at a regular pace because Vic is mad. Fun new emotion that we haven't had. That's a lie. Because this is like the second time we as a group have come to a place that like easily any of us could have lived, and that's pissing Vic off. Like the division, yeah, okay, that's fine, cool. That's like the better mythic, or that's like the better initiative. Here, this is like a normal place where we all could have had a normal fucking life. And now I'm like, just kind of like, there's like disdain in Vic's like face, and then sees like the headmaster run off, and it's like, he'll figure it out.
Not necessarily the headmaster, but he's running towards the headmaster's office. There seems to be a confrontation in the office, so yeah.
They'll figure it out. Vic walks like normal pace.
Eden goes to start running afterwards, but immediately like staggers on their fucking high heel, because of course they do. Like, and they like, I think maybe even like almost crack it. Like they wobble really hard and go, fucking bitch, and like start like strutting down the hallway as fast as they can, like passing all of these angelic scriptures that have like the different like resonances on the tattoos on their body in this like funny and odd way, and this place of knowledge like makes them hungry in the same way that any place like this does. But the thing about a school is that you can't get those first-hand accounts like you can by simply going to the source, the Vatican. Easier to just go there.
Fantastic. What about you, Miss Foot? Are you running, or are you just normal pace?
I'm not gonna lie, Misfit's too depressed to run anywhere.
It's mood. I'm gonna do something real quick here, because I'm assuming when you do trip, do any of you help, or do you guys just keep walking? It's just like Eden's got themselves.
I
Very
think
curious.
it's Vic being who Vic is in general, high awareness of body and everything around them. Probably catches Eden, but not in a way that like, not in a way that denotes care, in a way of like, stop falling, like, and then picks Eden back up immediately.
And Eden's like, go fuck yourself, and like kind of shoves, but then like immediately staggers the other direction, and like again is just like furiously catwalking.
I think as you're doing that, I think the two of you, Vic and Miss Foot, you enter into the office first, because you can walk normal. Eden, you're having a little bit hard of a time, and before they both get in, before they can really help you, you trip again. And kind of as you do notice that as you're picking yourself from the ground, an individual kind of approaches you. They seem to be very timid, light skin around your age, sort of light brown skin, black hair that's sort of crunched up, very almost like, the word to describe it is not shaky, but kind of just very like timid nature, glasses that kind of push up circular. You see they have a number of books on their person. They kind of land a hand up and just like, do you need help?
Can I help you with something? No, I don't need any help.
I just
And Eden like just to like pull themselves up off the ground, like with their arms, but their legs are like too long, so they just kind of like skitter. It's really embarrassing. And they eventually will like actually like use this person's arm to like climb back up. Thanks.
I think seeing the scenario you're in, you see, just go against the wall for a second. You see they kind of help you against a wall. They go in their backpack, and you see they kind of pull out what looks to be like tied up, kind of not like they're kind of like used Converses. They just like, if you want to work, walk on something flat or to walk around, you can take these.
Thanks for literally giving me the shoes off of your feet. That's like a biblical thing.
It's
like
a spare.
really...
It's a spare.
You carry spare shoes?
Well, I go to the gym, so I just, like sweaty feet, athlete's foot, and just
you want to give me your athlete's foot shoes?
No, it's I can take them back if you don't want them. I just
no, sorry. And Eden is like, be a decent human person. That's your job. Part of your job is being a guy that doesn't suck. Sorry, I need these for my job. I need them for my job.
Yeah, understandable. I know this may be a little forward. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You see they're kind of holding it in. Do you know someone named Edie? You look a little similar to them. I mean, I could just be the light
They're
in the
my twin.
eyes.
Do you know them?
You see they kind of tense up at you saying they're your twin. Yeah, I knew them. I knew them. Yeah. I have to go. I'm gonna miss class. See you later. And you see they kind of pick up their stuff real quick and begin to very timidly, books in hand, kind of walk off.
Eden does that thing they do where they literally watch them walk all the way until they can't watch them walk anymore. Like pinning them with that classic fucked up Eden stare until they like are out of sight completely, and then they turn around and use the wall to guide them like as fast as they can to the headmaster's office.
Fantastic. As we head into this office here, you are all there. Heaven, you've been here for a little bit. You were having conversation until someone came in here. As you all kind of walk in, you can see what looks like the Professor Dara, the guy you just met, currently like almost like arm locking a guy at the moment who seems to be trying to go ballistic. The individual you see that they're kind of arm locking or kind of like making sure they don't go any violent seems to be an older kind of white gentleman. You see they kind of have, again, maybe 50s, very dad vibe in terms of, body composition and also sort of the graying of hair. You can see that currently he's pissed. He smells just a little bit of alcohol. He doesn't seem to be drunk at this moment because, Vic, you can tell when your prey is there or not. But for the moment, you can see that he's just very angry and vivid. You see the headmaster go, "You don't do that here. You act like a civilized person when you come to my school and making demands. Mr. Clayton, please." You see Dara, they give a head nod to Dara, they kind of let the individual go. You see very angry slams his hand on the table. "Look here, I know my daughter died to what they say is a bear attack. all right, a couple months ago, and now all of a sudden, one of your students died, huh? Is that a big coincidence? They kept saying it's a bear. I'm thinking it's one of your freaking kids. As you see, he kind of points specifically towards heaven. As you see, it's like the only individual they have in the room. You people have been here on this little castle of yours, and you've been doing all manners of crazy ass stuff. You come in when into the town when you like, you come out when you don't. So let this be clear. I'm gonna find out which one of these scum here killed my daughter, and I'm gonna bring them to justice myself, the way we do it here. And you see the headmaster gets up, slams on the table and responds and goes, I would like to see you try. Now, if you do not have any legal backing to your claims that one of my students here, who are here for academic purposes and have come across oceans to study here, is a murderer, I would highly suggest you leave before I throw you out. You see, it's very tense in the moment, but he kind of shrugs off very angrily and just runs out the door. I think since Eden, you're the last person out, they shoulder check you on the way as they begin to walk around the side.
The only sense of pride is that Eden doesn't fall because they were already holding onto the wall.
With that, you see they kind of slump in their chair. I think at this point, you guys see Heaven for the first time in a while. Dara's here, the headmaster, Montoya, which they kind of say real quick. And also Nick, Carlisle, you're here as well. As you we're having a conversation about, okay, what's the best step? And then came in, made a row. But in this moment, you all are in the room as the headmaster kind of goes, forgive us for that little inconvenience. I am a headmaster here. It is a pleasure to meet all of you. Kind of extends hand out for whoever wants to shake.
I'll shake it.
It's kind of very long, just like, okay. And he's like, ready. Pleasure to meet you. If you all would please take a seat. Heaven has already told me so much about you, and I believe Carlisle knows a bit about some of you, but that's beyond the point. Dara, can you please close the door? That would be very kind of you. You see, he kind of goes, anything for you, headmaster? I'm going to do my rounds again. As you see, he kind of closes the door with all you in here. Well, first things first, how was your trip? I hope the countryside was agreeable with you. I know you're not used to the country air.
Eden immediately sits in whatever seat is closest to Heaven and kind of like shoulder checks her a little, like gently, that kind of loving like sibling shoulder check.
Yeah,
like
a
quick
little
aside
elbow back.
is like, sorry, I raided your closet, and like then turns to the headmaster, and just right into it is immediately like, you know, they never believe the bear story, right? Like never. I don't think that has ever worked ever in history. Nobody's ever believed that it's just been a bear.
Could use wolf, coyotes, machinery.
Well, we really can't get away with machinery, but the bear story did hold for quite some time, and to be honest, it wasn't really a story. We all believed it to be a very vicious bear, but when it killed an immortal, then we started to believe it's not such a bear after all.
Well, you still shouldn't let people talk to you that way. This is supposed to be a place for immortals, right?
Clayton Cox is a very troubled individual. He was a single father who lost his daughter about a month ago to the bear attack. It has been very hard on him. And sadly for us, he is a God-fearing man. So you already know that story.
No, I only know Cain and Abel, but whatever. I don't.
Immortals tend to look to divinity for the reason why things happen. And as you may or may not know, when mortals go to divinity, they may not always do the same option or have the sound of mind, especially when they do not have support. So,
Yeah.
We become the monsters in their stories at that point.
exactly. And the last thing we need is him to go ranting and raving in front of our students who do not have the same patience as I do.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to hit him with a paperweight. He just left faster.
Yes, believe me, I wanted to hit him very much. And you notice they've been hiding it a little bit, but you notice, Vic, that they are a dragon, or half dragon, or dragon, whatever nature. They seem to be some form of dragonic ancestry within them, whether they be an actual dragon or an ascendant one, you don't know, but they seem to be of that nature. So you know very much they could have, freeze them, throw them across the room, tear them in half, hell, just like pluck them, break an arm. They could have done a lot of things, so they were really holding back. But yes, please, Professor, introduce yourself to our lovely PIs here, who have generally offered their time to help us in our dire aid.
Carlisle. I would say that I wish, it's a pleasure to meet you, but circumstances telling it's not so pleasant right now.
What are you a professor of, Carlisle?
Divination. I also work as the Academy's archivist.
He works very intimately with Professor Zula, as they do a lot of archive work. They keep the records in tip-top shape, make sure everything is A-okay.
I think Vic, who is probably the closest to Misfit, because it's probably Heaven, Eden, Vic, Misfit, looks to Misfit immediately and is like, hey, isn't that your cousin or something? Aunt?
Something distant. Misfit turns to Carlisle at that point. Zula, you said?
That's right.
You wouldn't happen to know where I could find her, would you?
She's probably in the archives right now. That's generally where we've been spending our time.
Unrelated to all of this, of course. So, after we've done what we need to do, I might pop by if that's amenable to you.
You would be surprised about how much stuff is actually related. Your coming was related to this. Our guest was related to all of this.
Please forgive the demeanor of our cryptic professor here. Divination tends to bring intensity into everything they do, believe me. The coughing mornings are a little bit tense when he tells me whether or not I might break my foot if I walk a wrong way or anything like that. But and you see they kind of give a very try to joking manner. He's a lovable guy if you get to know him. Very sweet. But with that, you have come here on business, so allow me to cut to the chase about what is going on here. Last night, Professor Karl here was investigating a group of students that managed to leave their dorm rooms when there was a curfew. As you know, the attacks on the bear, we didn't want to chance anything, and, students being students, they still got out. So Carlisle brought them all back, but sadly, one of our students was murdered. Now, this is a problem because they were found by mortal authorities, which is problem number one. Problem number two was they were immortal, so they shouldn't have not been dead. If they were eaten from somebody ate them in some manner, but they should have regenerated and been with us right now. Problem number two, that was that. And then problem number three is the relation in which the student belonged to. Now, he is not any old mortal. He is a mortal that belongs to the family over in Europe. If you're not familiar with the name Saint Germain, he is part of that grand household there. So of someone of such high importance being murdered, now the family is going to want to investigate, and the last thing we need is a bunch of immortal royals coming into our little place and doing as they see fit. Which, let me tell you, immortals are not exactly... they do not have mercy, is to put it nicely. So we want to solve this as quick as possible. Everywhere in the school is at your disposal. If you need access to restrictive archives, just talk with the professor in charge. I highly doubt you will need it, but just in case, you should be fine. Beyond that, we have few covers here. You see they open up a drawer, and they hold what looks like to be lanyards with your names on them. That kind of says, hello, my name is that. They seem to be kind of like the orientation, hey, put this on your chest, or have this around you. You will all be orientation students. There is a number of them going about, so feel free to, and kind of hands them out. You will be able to hide among the new students and the old students and get a tour of campus and get all the nook and crannies. So please, again, we're happy to have your help, but please, time is of the essence. The last thing we need is, again, immortals coming in and doing as they see fit. Any questions that you may have for me before I have to attend to my duties?
Where's the body?
The body is within the laboratory downstairs. We are hiding it right now among the supernatural professors, Professor Dara's classroom at the moment, if you do wish to investigate that. Is at your disposal. Any other questions?
I think Misfit is thinking back to what was said about this student having been eaten specifically, and they had immediately turned to Vic and thought of Vic in that moment. And so I think Misfit asks the headmaster, when you say eaten, what exactly do you mean? Body, soul, magic?
We're still running tests at the moment, but to be honest, they are physically eaten right now. From what we could gather so far, we found a number of teeth that seem to be kind of pulls it out. You see they have it in the baggie. You can see that Vic, it clicks with you immediately as it is almost like teeth you have when you open up one of your mouths.
Oh,
but
God.
instead of it being just a normal white or, just made out of calcium, it seems to be made of a starlight, almost like a heart-like construct almost, with a little bit of a glitter and glisten to it.
Yeah, I think Vic kind of is the one to grab it and kind of looks at it and then touches the teeth in their mouth and realizes, no, that's not quite it. So they open their palm and a mouth opened and compares it to those teeth, and Vic's like, oh shit, these are real similar.
They took their time with the body too.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's and I think Vic just takes the lanyard, puts it on, probably says vicious, and then just puts it on.
Professor not Dara. Dara's a little busy. Professor Karl here will act as your old team leader, in a sense. They will, under the guise of, showing you around everywhere, answering questions about... please do so. And if you do have questions, we're more than happy to answer them. Again, this is a school for everyone, and we know, particularly as we have done with Heaven, we have provided a safe haven. So, in case you wish to stay, the option is there for all of you. But with that, we're going to go, and please enjoy yourselves. And I think with that, we're going to take a quick break here. So we'll get your water, use our baño, and we'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mythic Initiative. With that, we jump right back into our mystery. Now, you have a couple of options at your disposal here in terms of where you guys want to go. You have one where the body is of the student in case you want to investigate that. You have where the student was staying, their dorm, that's another one. And then you have the archive in case maybe there's something maybe down there. They kind of took trips back and forth, but whether or not that might provide evidence, you don't know. But with that, you kind of got three options here. What would we like to do?
Well, the obvious answer always is go see the body.
Eden also wants to see the body.
Fantastic. Is everybody following suit, or are we separating?
I don't think Vic is concerned with that question. I think Vic is just going directly. Like,
yeah, I'm talking about Heaven and Misfoot. You guys gonna follow suit?
I think Misfit hangs back slightly and is waiting to see what Heaven does. And if Heaven looks like he's gonna go with Eden and Vic, then Misfit will very reluctantly tag along behind. But Heaven, you notice it's very unusual behavior for Misfit given all of the everything about our relationship. But Misfit is sticking very close to you in particular today.
Yeah, they clocked that instantly. What happened to being someone's shadow? That is something. Oh, don't say I don't know what you're talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Heaven, do you really have to be
abrasive?
Heaven?
Honest? Yes, that is part of it's on my birth certificate, actually. Instead of a last name, it's just a list of traits that comes with the name Heaven.
Actually, honest is what I need right now. So, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm just going to go back to my first question. Did I miss something? Did something happen on the way here or while I was away? Because
you missed a lot.
I see.
And I can fill you in on that later, but for now, if you're okay with it, I could just use, I would say friend, but I don't know if that's what we are. Just whatever we are.
I mean, you haven't killed me. I haven't killed you. I think that's the closest we'll ever be to friends, I guess. Not in an awful way, but sure. Come on.
Okay. And Misfit will follow wherever Heaven goes.
Carlisle will lead them towards the body.
So everybody heading towards the body. With that, you enter into what looks like to be almost a very college-like, the white chalk, well, not the white, technically green chalkboard, still very dusty. You see this place has been kind of closed off. There's supposed to be classes going on here for the students that are around, but, due to the circumstances, it's been closed off. Kind of entering in, you can see what looks like to be the body that's sort of laid out on the aluminum kind of tray that you can kind of turn around. You can see when they picked up the body, it was very hard to get back. They only got it back because they under the guise of we have to let Lick's relations know, and we have that records here. So you can see it's already been tampered with by mortals trying to understand. You do also see that the body is in two separate parts. They were eaten through that midsection so much that when they picked them up again, they broke. And so there is one half and another half that's kind of separated. The individual, you can't really see their face because it looks like they got caved in and then were eaten. So something just punched the hole through their head and then began to just eat them. So it's kind of very hard to identify any teeth, anything like that. Very gruesome, the way they died. You can tell off the bat, eaten first, and then mercy killed with the punch through the head. But if you want any more clues about the body as you're kind of going down the steps, I'm going to need somebody here to grasp keys for me.
Vic.
CJ.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Bit of
Fantastic.
a homecoming.
Do I have a move for the
So
day? I
you
don't.
don't have any darkness, you don't have any conditions,
That'd be
so
so bad.
you're doing straight right now.
I got
don't think.
bonds.
Yeah, you got a bond, so you
I
got that.
got 2 with Eden, so I can use 1 with. I'll
Yes.
use 1.
Wait, do we
Considering-
have to declare bonds before, or are we allowed to do it after?
I believe before. Oh,
Okay.
You know what?
Well, it is-
I'm trying to think because if you can minus,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm saying like if you have to declare plus or minus, like wouldn't
I
it
will
make
say
sense to do it
for
after?
darkness tokens you have to do before, but I think for
Before, for
bonds you can do it
bonds
after.
Okay,
because
then
you
I'll
can
wait.
subtract. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes way more sense.
yeah.
I threw my dice. Let me grab a new one.
Just Vic investigates the body. They slip.
Oh, I don't need to use anything. I got a 9.
A 9. You uncover a key. So, with that, you're kind of investigating this, and you're kind of seeing the relation to a thief. And it clicks in your head. Immediately, what's going on here is that something of a similar nature to you did this act. The thing that's in your mind that's concerning, though, is that it isn't a siphon per se. You know that you really don't know too much about siphons, but this one in particular seems to been feasting on it not out of a need to eat, but maybe a need to sustain. Because you can see that vital organs have been taken out. In the sense of like they teared and then we're like almost like grasping an apple from a tree, just picking out what they needed. So
that's
for this
wild.
clue here in particular, if you're going to name it anything, and we'll keep it on the side, you can see that the individual that, or whatever was doing this, was not a siphon per se.
Yeah. Because, and I guess because Vic, was a siphon, is a siphon, but the cocoon happened.
Mhm.
Would Vic basically kind of look at this? I'll say it's like on an axis where siphon is on the left and cocoon, whatever the fuck is going on with us, is on the right.
Yeah,
that
you can.
mean-
Yeah. So
yeah.
from what, yeah, what you're kind of sensing here is that whatever is doing this here has some sort of, it's evolved in some sort of way that it does what you do, but requires something extra to sustain itself. So you can
Got
see
it,
it's like
got
a divergent evolution. This whatever creature this is may be in the same like family tree as you, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily is on that same path.
Yeah. And I think Vic is probably being really gross right now because they probably aren't even recognizing because they're so focused. Like there's a beginning where Vic is kind of like treading a finger around the body and it's like maybe has gloves on and is like moving organs and it's like, yeah, no, that got and it's like talking to themselves but very much like not grossed out at all, and then like looks at the skull. It's almost horrifyingly precise the way that like Vic could be a coroner, and then like comes out of it, takes the gloves off, and it's like, I don't know, it's like a siphon plus.
Yeah, specifically if you're wondering about the organs, you can see the ones that were taken were more related to adrenal purposes. So you can see parts of the nervous system, the adrenal gland, you can see liver. Part of a heart was taken, not necessarily the whole thing. So you can see that it was taking stuff related to sort of the adrenal gland system in terms of reproducing that and all that good stuff. So you can see it was taking specific hormone producing parts.
We got a hormone monster.
Yeah, isn't that every teenager that's ever existed?
Well,
Especially
okay.
here.
Then we're looking for a teenager.
Professor, and Eden is like, I think on the other side, stepping back from the body, letting Vic do her thing with it first before they move in. And I think they like pin you with this really sharp expression, like looking at you. And they kind of gesture loosely. What else can you tell us? You were the one who found them, right?
Even though it seems like they took their time, I mean, we heard the screams very quickly. The other students were having a party out in the woods against their better judgment. And well, one of the students, this one particular, Jamie, went missing. And by the time I was able to get to him, He had already been consumed, already been taken, as it were.
And the
Unfortunately,
others eaten by this bear. The same thing.
yes, it all matches up. I don't know what the matter of consumption is or why they're doing it. Unfortunately, I can't look into the past as well as I could look into the future.
I don't think you need to be able to look into the past to see how fucked up this is.
Extremely. And the worst victims out of this are going to be the students, the ones left behind.
Is that what you saw in the future?
The school burns in the future I saw. The only home I've known, and the only home many of these people have known. And I think Carlisle looks over at Vic and kind of tilts his head at her. In another life, it would have been your home, too.
Why?
You might not think now, but just looking at you for the past couple of minutes, I've seen you would have been a good fit here. I remember your student profile.
Vic, I think that stuns Vic like for a minute. Student profile. The fuck? Like the thing I filled out like a couple days ago to lie about, and then looks at thing and checks it says lacrosse.
No. I'm talking about a path you could have went down. You probably didn't even know that path existed, but we always look into potential recruits. But looks like your life took another turn.
Yeah, I got picked up by a devil of lies and courted off with a horrible, terrible, awkward mentor.
Well, I'm sorry we couldn't have been there faster for you. But hindsight is 20/20.
Something like that.
And to see another one of you, and Carlisle turns to Eden. Well, I wish I could say things with your sibling went better, but we all know how that turned out.
Enlighten me how that all turned out.
Exemplary student. Progress, power, good chip on their shoulder. The type of student we seek to nurture here. Well, I don't know what happened after graduation, but they tore out of here like a bat out of hell and left a few bodies in their wake, too.
Sounds like me.
Tragedy's not a stranger to Gehenna Academy, unfortunately. And it seems like we're catapulting from one area of misfortune to the next. But I won't lie and say I was a little saddened by that.
Why is Edie not the prime suspect for this investigation then?
I don't think ED is anything close to a siphon or whatever the hell a step up and away from a siphon would be.
Do we even know what they are?
They're
ED?
my heart. Edie.
And do you know what that means? You haven't known your heart in years, a decade, longer, I think.
And
Do you even
have.
recognize it anymore?
Do you? Misfit?
I never met it.
This feels like a tangent that we can discuss later, or you can discuss in private. We do have.
No, it feels
Agreed.
relevant. You know?
No, it's not. And we're not going to make it relevant. excuse you for
I just-
feasting on drama.
I just think that if Edie has killed students before that they left, Professor, makes sense
Not
to
students,
consider.
professor.
Ah.
Oh,
Well, I guess that knocks them out of this situation twice over, Misfit.
And it seems like I was right.
As you always are.
Thank you.
That wasn't a compliment.
I know it wasn't.
I think it's nice that Heaven says things plainly.
I have no idea what you're insinuating, so I'm going to go to the next crime scene.
Speaking of the next crime scene, shouldn't there be more people here to help us, Misfit? Where is Raju? Where's Samuel? All your little helpers not picking up the slack on this one?
They have their own lives. They have other things to do.
Oh. Other things to do.
I figured that we're in an academy, we're in a school, a place of learning. Isn't this your whole? Isn't this what you like to do? Shouldn't you be able to handle this just on your own? Don't need anybody to help you.
Oh, I never needed Radu.
And I
don't
never
need
needed anyone.
else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they
That much
always
is
like
clear.
this?
Yeah,
I was
Vic
just about to say.
I think if Vic actually like saw the round 2 coming up, and like Vic loves drama, but like if Heaven butts in, they're gonna be like, okay, fine, like, you know, I'll let it cool off. But then seeing that the two of them are starting again, like linked arms with Carlisle, like if he'll let them, and it's like and puts an arm out for Heaven, and it's like, are you coming out?
I think Heaven like rejects the chicken wing, but walks with them.
like leaves out, and we come outside, and they're like, are they always like this? Yeah,
Absolutely. It's disgusting.
it's kind of funny.
I will say, as you guys are leaving, Carlisle, you do know, the idea of maybe it's Edie. Well, there's only one person on campus in place that if you do want to get answers, and it is kind of in that sort of same dormitory. So if you do want to get answers and maybe investigate that, the dormitory is that. But you guys have two more options now. Get the dormitory, and then you have the archive. So it is up to you where you would like to go next.
Where do you think we should go teach?
I mean, we're already by the dormitory.
To the dorm.
Might as well
it is.
proceed.
We'll let the... Doesn't feel apt to call them lovers right now. We'll let them figure themselves out. It like leads the charge with these two in hand again.
Fantastic. So you three go through. For Misfit and Eden, do you follow suit or do you do something else?
Eden doesn't even notice them leaving, I think.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think it's because like Misfit has gotten like stepped a little bit closer to Eden, and it's like tunnel vision at that point.
So, fantastic. As you two are fighting, I will leave you guys for a second here as you love our spout. As the three of you begin to go into the dormitories. With that, going in, standard issue, again, a little bit more of a fancy side because the way, the dark academia built of this place. It's got that kind of, European old school kind of vibe to it, as the place is mostly built on stone and mortar. But as you enter into kind of like the hallway of the dorms, very modern. It's very just like, look at this rustic old, and it's like, oh no, this just looks normal. Fluorescent lights and going through, particularly the wing that you're in. There is a number of individuals. Heaven, it seems to be the same place you were staying in, because the place, sort of that hall you were in, was for new people or people that are just coming to visit and leaving. So it's kind of like the hotel or O-team kind of people staying on campus. That's kind of where you've been staying. So Jamie lived here. You do notice that there's a number of places. You got the RA that you, Carlisle, would know to be Chloe Mitchell. They are Medusa's descendant, so they are acting as the RA for this floor. You do know the where Edie used to stay, and the roommate they stayed with is still there. They're a grad student. and then you have the room where Jamie was. So you kind of have the three places in case you want to knock on whoever's door and investigate.
I think as Carlisle would enter, he would call for Miss Mitchell.
You see kind of coming out, she's like, one moment. You see kind of coming out, disheveled because they were kind of in the middle of like working out. Still gym clothes, very sweaty. Glasses that are sort of red tinted, almost orange like hair that kind of brushes off to the side. Again, same age, maybe a little bit older. They're about their senior year. They're finishing off the summer here before they graduate. Kind of look over. Hey, Professor, what do I owe the pleasure?
We need to investigate Jamie as well as what is Eden's brother's old roommate?
Their roommate, is to be Naomi Evans. They are one of the grad students that stayed on here, so they kind of stay here by themselves.
Can you get make sure that we can talk to Mix Evans as well as lock down Jamie's room from being interrupted?
Jamie's room's gonna be a little bit of a hard one. You could go see why yourself. I can go get Noma for you, so I can go do that for you.
Sounds good. I
and as
wonder what she meant by that.
As you walk in, you smell something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're like, you better not. You open the door. You see they're hitting it at the moment. As you see Drago, the same kid you pulled out last night, currently in the room of the deceased. Just like, oh, hey, Deech, as he opens the window. This is not what you think it is.
This is a crime scene. This is what I think it is.
What? I would have never known. I mean,
I'm going to count to 3.
Yep.
And I want you and your bullshit excuses out of here.
But Teach, I sleep. He was my roommate. So do I how does that work? Do I have to get my...
Vacate yourselves for
Got
the
it.
next few hours.
Got it. You see there's another student there that just chucks the bong out into the nearby courtyard. You would shatter. You see the both of them just book it out.
And I think Carlisle turns and takes a sniff and goes, "That oregano based Reggie, get that shit out of here."
You see just what I'm not rich, and he kind of just continues down. With that, even though it's airing out, you can kind of see the room relatively untouched. Again, you see the very messy skirmish captain on one side, and then you can see a little bit neater, a little bit more of a mess because they were kind of messing around with this stuff, trying to find something to light with. But for the most part, you can see Jamie's stuff is relatively untouched. If you want to go any further, you can make a grasp keys, if you will. I think you're going to take the lead on this one, Carlisle, because you're kind of very much doing this. So you can roll a 2d6s here.
Let's go. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Good to do it in roll 20. Hopefully it doesn't screw me.
Let's do it. Let's see.
Oh my fucking...
But you can.
Oh my god. I find more than I was ready for.
Find more than we were ready for. Fantastic.
Story of my life.
I think. Now, here's my question. You can mark ruin and still get a key. But that means that in doing so, you kind of reveal how you become closer to that monstrous side. Do you want to do that, or you just want to know?
Oh, yeah. So I think what ends up happening is that there is a moment where you almost feel, anyone that's around him feels like emptiness, almost like cold. But not like a chill cold, like a vacuum, like a lack of anything. As Carlisle removes his glasses and his eyes begin to twinkle with the light of galaxies. Like shooting stars, like cosmoses, almost as if he's scanning over 1,000 lifetimes. And kind of crawling out under any available orifice or any even out from his skin or like any wounds, you can see that there are moths beginning to escape. And it just kind of like collapses all in at once, and Carlisle takes the knee.
Okay. Like leans into heaven.
Did I grasp the key?
You did. But you also get a vision just before what looks like it's one of the sense of the ground cracking as you see almost the room go dark. And you see glowing red as you just hear as you see what looks like to be almost like a raptor-like claw trying to break out of the crack as you see what looks like to be almost bug-like skin mixed with reptilian, as you see what looks like to be a glowing eye before it closes up again and you kind of come back to normal. You tend your focus goes to what looks like almost like hidden on the floor, just like in the sense of the kids are like going in like, can we use this? No. For paper, you can see what looks like to be a journal of some sort, maybe a diary.
And just like through stress, I'm assuming the nearest person near to me is Vic.
Yes.
And just right like against their chest in their hands.
Oh. Very dramatic. Thank you. And Vic just kind of like opens, like ignoring whatever the fuck just went on beside them. I was gonna like read the journal.
Yeah, reading through it, just to give you a general sense, you can see it's almost in a sense of a recording of his life. You can see whoever this Jamie was, and you know a little about the Saint Germains. They're very pompous people. He's like, I'm going to write you can see the purpose, first page. The purpose of this journal is for my great story. It's just like a very long preface of when I'm famous, people are going to want to hear my story. But with that, you see it goes into him first day, very excited, to see what's going on. Yada yada yada. It kind of goes on to seeing he loves it here. He gets to be himself. He doesn't worry about his family name and all that. You're very stereotypical. I'm from another country and finally can I come to America and make a name for myself. Misguided, whatever. But with that, you get to a page of the recent days, and what you gain here, what the key is that he met someone by the name of Jessica in town. He was a bit of a playboy in the way he says, but with Jessica, it's a little bit different. He feels like connected. He's excited to see her again at the party tonight, but that's kind of the last entry you get. And what you can get here, almost in a sense of the way it's described, that this individual almost came out of nowhere. They were in town and that was it. So in terms of this key, you can sense that coincidence, ? Kind of like, was this by fate of boy meets girl, or did girl interject herself here? Kind of that questioning linger mark of, was this premeditated? Did they know kind of ideas? Can they sense who's a monster or whatnot? I think is kind of that clue you get.
Yeah. And I think I turned to Carlisle after I finished reading this. I hand the book over to Heaven. Kind of like the forward seems more like your style. Not explaining that, it just hands it over. A slight, and then looks at Carlisle and says, "Hey, where's the weed kid at?"
Drago.
You see, looking out the window, you're like, where's the weed kid at? You see, he's sprinting it. He's part of a thing called skirmish, which is the equivalent of a very aggressive game of football here. To say that's putting it as an understatement of aggressive football.
Yes.
As you see, this kid, even for a werewolf, he's not in his werewolf form. He's booking it across campus right now.
Does he run past the window?
Yeah, he's running in the middle of the corridor right now. So.
I want to just like open the window. It's probably open. go up the window and says, "Never mind," and like jump, like long leap and tackle him back and be like just
Ha! As you just jump from the window, you tackle him on the ground, and you see he freaks out for a second before, like, oh, dude, why didn't you just
And
tell me to stop? Why did you jump
standing on
me?
his check. Hey, be quiet. I'm asking questions. I'm doing shit here.
Okay, yeah, but you're on my.
Shh.
Okay,
All right. Hey, you were Jamie's roommate.
yeah, he was a cool dude.
I
Got
moved
all the
my
hot
foot to-
babes
I
together.
moved to his foot to the stomach so he could like speak.
Jessica.
Remember a girl named Jamie? Wait,
Jessica.
Jessica. Thank you. You know a Jessica? You seen a Jessica? What, last night, 2 nights ago at the party?
Yeah, she was like a hot babe, black, like jet black hair. like,
Jet black hair.
very like, mysterious. You see kind of like wanders, like his eyes are just like dreamy. Just like, yeah, mysterious.
Vic is like holding back disgust. Now, okay, when you say dreamy, what do you mean?
I mean, like, we were in town, we were hitting it right, and I think it kind of flashbacks to him like describing the story. Just like we were hitting it right, and just him and Jamie at a bar. They're doing karaoke. They're having a great time. You see that, being hooligans, just very much like, we rule this town. You see that one night when they came into the bar, Jessica kind of like strolled up, the way he describes it, and she was like super fine, right? Like she had like a motorcycle jacket, and like, like she was like, I never really knew a girl like that before. And then it's almost in the sense of him mouthing her words. It's like, hey, are you from out of town? Yada, yada, yada. And from the moral of the story, you get Jessica kind of just met them at the bar, and then after that they just kept meeting each other, always in secret because she's a mortal, so you're not supposed to bring mortals into the school.
Yeah,
that's kind of the reason why they do their parties. The parties I was throwing last night, Professor didn't catch it because he kind of got there a little later, but their parties, they throw this occasionally where the monsters and the mortals mix. The mortals don't know that they're monsters, but it's just like they want to party with other people that aren't in the school because of all the tension, relationships, and blah. So they occasionally have secret parties where it's a normal party for humans, but for them, they have to be careful.
Yeah. I think I have a move. I'm trying to find it. Ignore me, whatever the other two are doing, but I'll use it if I can find it.
You can do that right there. I will cut back to the two of you. As you can see, Vic is interrogating the student. Did you get it, CJ?
I immediately found it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to, because I'm like broadly use him like as a key, because Vic is like, this guy's useless, but he might be able to like help me out. And I want to use the better to eat you with, my dear.
Yes.
Which is when I reflect on the keys uncovered thus far, I may feed on an aspect of a key, and shows me how my body changes in response. Mark one condition and reflect how it. Oh, I don't have to roll. Cool. Yeah, so I think Vic is like letting this guy like tell the story, and it's kind of like, okay. I think
super fine.
Like,
yeah.
He's like telling his side of what goes on, and Vic's just like, this person, like this Jessica sounds. What is the word I'm looking for? Like, not mysterious, but like a problem. So I think Vic like takes her hand. She's still stepping on his stomach, and her mouth opens on the hand and says, "Stop talking," and like puts her hand on his hand. It's almost like a kiss, very intimate. And I want to basically like probe him, like see through his eyes to like get more information on Jessica, to see if she's like, like to. Yeah, like first person perspective, like far too intimate, but like...
Yeah, fantastic. I think what happens here, searching through his mind, you see there's something in there swarming about, something that's not part of his natural biology, and you kind of, bypass the door. You look, it's a night. You see that, Jamie is out for the night at the moment. He kind of went, so he just came by himself. You see, he sees Jessica in an alleyway and goes like, this is my time. And you see he kind of gets spruced up, gets ready. And as he enters the alleyway, you see that this Jessica figure is talking to someone that doesn't look normal. You see their entirety of their skin is flesh. You see that they have hair that's not necessarily hair follicles, but veins. That almost in the sense of it kind of almost like the synapses of your brain, kind of like the nerves, reddish in nature. You see a red and green eye that glows. You don't get any face per se, but as you're kind of looking through, you can see that they notice, and then all of a sudden he gets sideswiped by something as you hear a sound of, and immediately before he gets to react, whatever this creature is, the shadow puts something in him. And as you sort of retract back, you can see what looks like to be almost what looks like to be like a slug or something that sort of pops out.
Yeah, it's funny because like the questions that I get, you basically answered them, but the last question I was going to ask was like, how does my blood purify the key and lead me to another? So Vic
Yes.
like pulls out this tadpole from him and looks at him and it's like, what the fuck?
You see, it kind of immediately dies as it kind of dissipates. You can see whatever this thing is made completely, it's almost in a sense of molded. It isn't natural in any way, shape, or form. Someone made it to be this way. But to do that is weird because how do you, by the laws of nature, you can't make something from nothing. So how the hell did they get this thing to live? It's just a clump of flesh, really, when it just finishes, as it just on the floor. It was almost like it was like magnets holding itself together until you pulled it out.
Yeah. Does he notice I pull this out of him?
He's very groggy, and again, he's high, so he doesn't know what's real or not.
Yeah,
he goes, "Whoa, do it again."
I just tap his face. Go play ball or something.
You got it. Guys, I got slugs in my brain. He kind of runs off to the field. As that happens, before we get back to our two here, I think we should go back to our little lover spout here. As you guys are still arguing at the moment, before somebody comes in, is there anything that you guys say of the importance of this conversation here before somebody comes in and interrupts?
Oh, yeah. 100%. As I think Misfit, like, closes in, right? Like, gets closer. Eden, like, does the thing where they fold their arms over their chest and, like, pin him with that look, right? Is that how you prefer it, then? Heartless? Is that how you see me?
Is that not how you are?
Is that not how I am?
I don't
I can
know.
be-
And Misfit's hand, I think, goes up to the collar of your jacket. And they kind of tug at it a little bit. You tell me.
What do you want, Misfit? Which one do you prefer? The version of me that is cruel? The version of me that is trying to protect you? The version of me that has half your heart in my chest? The version of me that I am what? Nothing? Everything? Do you like me better like this? Completely whole, perfect, like Radu and Samuel? Unbroken? Is that what you prefer? Because we can pretend, if that's what you really want.
What I want is for you to take that off. And what I prefer is you as I've always known you. Cruel, harsh, exacting. Because that's the only you that's ever been real.
Good. Because that's all I am. Can I gain some darkness tokens for asking someone to ignore their heart?
I think so, yes, please. I think... I'm going to say 3. It's not a full-on DEFCON 4 here, but I think a 3 would be a nice little scenario here.
I hope you find something warm and happy and soft with whatever new toy you decide to have. 'Cause I will not be soft.
And I think there is a moment where Misfit can feel the nuclear fission roiling up, starting to take hold within themselves again. But because they had asked Asi to up all of the defenses, it quickly, I think, gets tampered down, and whatever break you might have seen in that moment, Eden, disappears. Like it wasn't there at all. And instead you see an odd hardness to Misfit's own face, like a mirror to your own. And it almost makes you feel like you're looking at yourself for a bit, as they consider what you're saying, and whatever answer that they were going to give you gets choked out, snuffed out like a candle. And instead, he just looks at you, scoffs, and says, "That's fine, I can find a different pet to take to hell." And they turn and they leave.
They'll take your wrist. I told this to your father, Misfit. And if I need to, I'll tell it to you too. I am not a pet. But I will be going to hell with you.
And I think Misfit yanks his wrist out of your hand. Don't touch me again.
Fine.
And I think in this instance, as you two are kind of like, don't touch me again, you see the doors open. You see what looks like to be an individual that, Eden, you instantly remember. You see there an older woman again, maybe early 40s, maybe mid 40s around. You can't really pinpoint it. You see they got black hair, kind of a gentle smile about them, almost that incredibly impossible angelic beauty among them, and it instantly clicks for you. You remember this person. The name didn't really click it for you, but the face does. You see this is Sister Zula. As you see that kind of approaching in, you see they have they seem to be taking care of the body at the moment. You see that kind of getting ready. They kind of walk in and gotta go, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was here to take care of the body. But if you are investigating it, I can just simply come back."
And Misfit, who was, I think, closest to the door, as he was the one who was about to leave, I think was like almost bumped into Zula, and still looking at Eden, just said, "No, we're done here."
All right, very well. I'll just get a clean up body, and he proceeds to go towards their job.
Can you direct me to the archives? I'm looking for Professor Zula.
Oh, well, you found them right here. That is me. It is a pleasure to meet you. How can I help you? As you see, they begin to sort of bag the body.
And I think Misfit turns and like looks at Eden, just like not sure whether they're going to stay or leave or what. And before engaging, Zula is going to wait for Eden's response.
Eden's little like eyebrow quirks. Like, kind of gives this like calculating look where it's very clear that they knew exactly who Zula was as soon as she walked in. Good luck. Hope you find what you're looking for, Misfit. And they go past you and out the door.
And Misfit wants to, I think that a hand goes up as if they're going to stop you, as if they're going to ask you for information that you clearly have, right? An old habit, I think, clicks in where Misfit is so used to relying on Eden's knowledge, but they stop themselves like mid-motion and they let you leave. And instead, Misfit just turns back to Professor Zula, Sister Zula, and just takes like a big inhale in and a big exhale out. Curses Aussie a little bit in their brain for that being one of the things that they read in those stupid meditation books or whatever. And is going to walk, I think, to the opposite side of the body where Zula is right now, like across the table that the body is laid out on. Professor Zula, It is a pleasure to meet you. I have actually quite a few questions to ask you.
Well, please, I am an academic mind. It is what I am built for.
I don't think it's your academics that will be important here, but rather your life experience. I think you knew my mother.
Oh, please, happy to indulge someone from the past, I guess. I guess scholarly minds do produce scholarly minds, as you see they kind of continue to dissect and put into bags.
My name is Misfit. I'm Thule's kid.
The minute you say Misfoot and Thule's kid, they immediately stop, almost like Scapelmid. Now that's complicated. You should not know. I cannot. You see they kind of begin to take things off and are preparing to make an exit out of here. Of just like, nope.
Misfit blocks the door, like sees that Zula is like making for the exit and immediately goes in front of it. I imagine this woman is probably taller than him, because Misfit is relatively short, but they're gonna try their best to like block the entrance.
Yeah, you again, walking twig would be the best, tall but not built at all. Which you don't think of an angel straight up. You always think muscular or that. No, not really. As you see, kind of. I'm sorry. I cannot help you. Your mother is dead. Yes, dead. Dead as a doorknob. Dead as that guy over there. I cannot help you. Please, just let me through and.
I know I can't tell when people are lying anymore, but you're really bad at it.
I think in this interest, to make this a little interesting, if you would please open your heart for this individual. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, what's a little tension on top of this?
Okay. Do I have bonds that I can use for this? I do not. Alright, let's do this. Papa, I got an 8.
Hey, Nate! Hey, look at that! Hey, bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, I said that again. With that, you get to choose one of the options below in terms of you grow closer, you can get a bond on them. You don't have a condition, so you have to worry about that. They taught you something important when you mark XP, or they gave you hope. You can clear 1 mark of ruin.
I'm gonna say that if depending on what information I'm about to get, Chris, this is based off of your information. But assuming that the information has the potential to give Misfit any sort of hope whatsoever of finding his mother, I'm gonna say that that's what happens.
I'll narrate what happens next. You can choose at the end of it how you feel.
Okay.
With that, they kind of go, look in your eyes, almost like that. All right, I will tell you. Please take a seat, as I think you are going to need it. I wish I had a drink, but we cannot get that at the moment.
And Misfit will take wherever the nearest seat is. And I think they are, as they listen to Zula speak, they are going to fiddle with the necklace as well. And I think it'll be visible at this point for her in case she recognizes it at all.
Now, your mother is a very touchy subject. Your mother was, as you probably are asking me and whatnot, is not dead. That is the good news. But I do not know if your mother is still your mother. See, what happened after the night the mortals and the angels teamed up to take down your father, as you know, they succeeded in their mission of casting him out. Problem was, we were going to continue and kill all of the children, just in case, but we never got that chance because your mother. Again, he kind of sees your face of like, kill you all. That was a long time ago. Again, 1910s. Not a great time for everyone. I'm going to be very honest right now. With that, your mother sacrificed herself, saying, if he can't provide any more children, then what harm is going to happen? So the church, in their infinite stupidity, decided to not only take your mother and imprison them, but about a couple years later, decided to make use of your mother and performed a very complicated ritual into brainwashing them. Your mother no longer believes she is your mother. She believes that she has been part of our order for the past centuries under the name of Sister Luna, one of the strongest warriors that I still believe, was one of the strongest warriors within the order of the Brotherhood of Yala. Now, she was given a mask so nobody can really see who she was, and she kept it on for a long time. But for the most part, she was doing her job training new cadets that would walk to our doors, training them to be the best person ever that they can be for our brotherhood. Now, problem got to be when, about 3 years ago, I heard through the grapevines that your mother was sent on a mission from the Pope themselves. You see, a number of angelic beings were being consumed by what mortals would call them eldritch beings. Specifically, one that belonged to Tulok, the Dream Eater. They went 3 years ago to investigate this murder, and they never came back. I do not know where they might be, but if they went after Torlok, then they must have went into their domain, which is known as the Land of Dream and Mirrors. So, they may be somewhere there.
Is there a way to go there? Into this other dimension, into this plane? I mean, surely she must be there. She might just be trapped.
I do not know. I am more of a warding. I'm more when I'm trying to stop this. I mean,
do you know anybody who might know?
I don't know, my child. I'm sorry. Unless you know someone who has a connection with such a plane, I cannot help you. And even then, it's a vast land. I mean, dreaming is complex. It could be anywhere. I mean, I did hear rumors of a place, but it is a rumor, indeed. And if it is the one place you do not want to go. Horrible place.
I have to go. If my mother is there, if there's any chance that she's still alive, I have to go.
You see, they pull out a pen and paper real quick and begin to sketch something. As they're sketching, they kind of go, a long time ago, it is said that Tulok was in the hotel business. A lot of people died back then, and with that, required a place for them to stay. And with that, he built a business from the ground up. And the name of this place, from what I can recall, is known as Hotel Eternity. If there was ever a place to start, it would be there. But I have no idea how to get there, or even if it is still around. As rumor has it, he died. And the place... A what? A key? Okay, all right. Key, that's nice.
I guess a key. And I think Misfit remembers back to the will release, whatever it's called, where we were all given different items. And if I recall correctly, Vic was given a hotel key that said, no, it was Eden.
Not Eden, yes.
Okay. Remembers the hotel key that said hotel attorney on it. And retconning that so that Misfit in character remembers it was Eden and not Vic. I think just Eden has a key.
Good luck with that one. Hard net.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Well, if they have the key, it is simple. You just need to find the elevator, which is another whole thing, but surely someone of your caliber can find it.
Surely. Right. Maybe I don't need to go to Eden. Maybe Heaven can help. I mean, Heaven's also, Heaven's a...
Or you could steal the key. You could do that too.
Or I could do that. Or I could get Heaven to ask and take the key. I think that is probably... I mean, Heaven's a Nephilim. And I think Misfit is just now anxiously speaking out loud things that Zula would not know anything about.
It's
just dumping out loud at this point. It's just I mean, Heaven's a Nephilim, right? So there's got to be some sort of connection there.
You seem to be dealing with a lot, and that's not my job. I don't get paid enough. So with that, I will leave you be. I have a corpse to transport, and I wish you the best of luck.
Sister Zula, before you go, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you were trying to kill her and everything at the time, but what was my mother like?
Oh, sweet, sweet boy. I never wanted to kill your mother. That was all the other fanatics. That's why I left. Crazy people. Your mother was a very kind person, very steward. Your mother was a commander. They led sieges. They fought sieges. That's how they met your father. Your father was not as the person he was today. He was a scholar.
I don't want to hear about it.
Oh. Well, your mother was a very kind person, but she did know how to lay down the law. I can see you have some fine qualities of her. Now, I do not mean to be rude, but I do have to get going, so I wish you the best of luck, Misfit.
Right. And I think Misfit just kind of slumps down in the chair that they were sitting in, kind of takes a moment before regrouping with everybody. Also because they don't actually know where everybody went, so they're gonna figure that out later. But for now, I think they're taking a beat.
Fantastic. And as you kind of taking a beat, Vic, you're still getting upstairs. I think the four of you, Carlisle, Heaven, and Eden, you kind of all meet up as that kind of you arguing and the investigation kind of times up. Misfit, you're still kind of looking around. All of you get to the floor, and Eden, as you get to the place where all the students are, you get a very strange feeling in your stomach. You notice there is something at the end of this hall which just scares you.
Eden approaches the group Heaven and Professor Carlisle, and I don't think Professor Carlisle has known them that long, but there is an expression on his face that is completely alien on their features. There is, for Eden, who is so completely stone-faced all the time, there is an excess of emotion pouring out of their face. It is somewhere between agony, where you think that maybe there is a grievous wound that they have. Their face looks like it's in pain, and they keep absently thumbing over the spot of their heart, they're trying to feel for something that's not there anymore. And there's this low simmer of rage that is literally radiating off of them in these pieces of sand that are so hot they turn into tiny little shards of glass as they walk. So there are like these like tiny, tiny, tiny little shards of glass. I think they like hit the spot where they can see Professor Carlisle and Heaven, and then the attention like pivots away to whatever is at the end of the corner. And the expression like inverts, solidifies, and they start power walking toward it as fast as they can. Like they want to know what the fuck it is, and they're gonna eat it from the inside out. Like there is a deeply vicious look on their face as they go past.
Carla, you know they're walking straight to Edie's room. You can see that they're going in that direction. And looking on the face of Eden here, you're a little worried because their roommate is still in there. So you don't know this person, and they look like they're power walking to like FBI and slam down this door of a student.
Carlisle won't say anything, just because they're not entirely sure what Eden's about to do. But they will follow him very closely, ready to intervene if need be.
Fantastic. What about Heaven and Vicious? You following suit?
Heaven is not necessarily close behind because they've seen this bullshit 1,000 times. There really isn't a point to like intervene, so they'll let the chaos happen to a point.
Yeah, I think Vic looks to Heaven because like it's like 75% yeah, this shit happens, but I think the look on Eden's face is kind of what startles Vic, because that's a look that we maybe have seen twice, maybe max, and it's like your sibling's going through something again. Let's go
again, like it ended.
You know what I mean. And then Vic just kind of like saunters behind Carlisle, probably.
Fantastic. Walking in, Eden, do you just walk in? Do you knock, or you just go boom? It's up to you. Somebody's in there. You can
sand. The door turns to sand when they touch it.
Fantastic. With that, the door turns into sand. You see there was almost like classical music playing on the inside, but becomes less muffled as you see the same girl that gave you the Converses is in there. They're messing with a chemistry kit right now. You see they kind of look at you going, oh, it's you. And not paying attention because you're more focused on this pain, you can see there is a door that is almost dark, almost rotting, like a sense of like normal, rotting wood, dark features, almost like shadow seeping under the door, as it's almost like a very creaky, almost like this doesn't belong here. And you can feel that feeling of anxiousness coming from there. As you see, the rest of you kind of come along, you see Noma, Karl, Professor Karl, like, no, grad student, not anything here, it's just they're practicing. You believe, if you remember off the top of your head, they're kind of like chemistry at the moment, supernatural chemistry and supernatural biology. It's kind of a dual masters they're doing at the moment.
This can fix me.
Miss Evans, vacate the room.
No, let them stay. No, this can fix me. It's gonna fix me.
Fix you?
Yeah.
Fix you?
Yeah.
Like, God, I feel this is a loaded question. What kind of fix? The fix that you're going to do for us that you claim, or like
a junkie fix?
That's the old fix. What kind of fix are we talking?
The old fix. Actually put my fucking heart back where it belongs.
I thought your heart was a person now.
Yeah.
That's a door. That's not a person.
Whatever's. And they get that fucked up look again, where like all the thoughts are colliding. I could kill them and put them back.
Okay. Kill. You want to
Eden.
Noma panicking of like, I can kill who? Do you see like I'm
Vic's like, not you.
If you open the door, you can't ever close it.
Good.
Do you know what this door is?
I'm confused. Is it like a door to darkness? I really don't understand.
Tell me, Tell me what it is. And like Eden like full pivots, and now all of that like frenetic energy is like turned completely on you, right? Like 100% on you, Carlisle. Tell me what it is. Tell me about
It's the
them.
door that lies at everyone's end. It's the period at the end of the sentence, the last page of a story, the dying, and like it is getting intense as Carlisle steps in, as almost the moths are swiveling. It is the last remnant of my kind. It is the last breath you will take.
Last breath I will take. Last breath I will take. I've heard it all before. Not my last page. I will write another fucking series.
The ink has gone dry. There's nothing left.
Then I'll use blood. No inkwell, no pen, I will use bone.
I'm gonna unleash the dark.
Fantastic. I would say before I'll give you 2 darkness tokens for that just off the bat. You can add this. You can only add it to your roll, so you have to say before you roll if you want to add those 2 or 1. You don't have to add both.
I think I'm gonna add 1 because I think I might need the other one.
All right. With that, roll please for me. And you said unleash your darkness, right? So.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Let this be the... Hey! Finally, a not a 6.
Hey, what you get?
I got an 8.
An 8. You just make it to the success. So with that, you choose 2 of the effects that are below. Either you get past the defense and you inflict a condition, you get what you want for them, you avoid appraisal's harm or cost, you gain the upper hand for now, expose a weakness or flaw, or you confuse them for some time. So you choose 2 of these bad boys.
Ooh. I think... So... You know what? We're gonna go with the more feral option. That'll have longer lasting consequences past my appearance.
Please do.
First, I'm gonna confuse them for some time as I flood them his mind with 1,000 realities. Particularly one of a bridge in Virginia as it collapses all around them. The first memory I have on this realm. And then I want to expose a weakness or a flaw in front of everyone.
See, you get no breaks. With that, in this instance, what flaw is showing? And then I'll say for both of my Vic and Heaven, can you just roll 2d6 for me to see if you notice something? Nothing just straight up is not anything, bad or whatever, just to see if you guys got a 4. Okay. What'd you get? You got what'd you get?
What? Oh, 9.
9. Okay. So you notice something, but I'll do Eden first.
What is the weakness that I share with everyone publicly?
Yes.
It's a front. It's a front for how desperately sad and desperately lonely Eden is. Like all of this, they physically cannot cry because the heart is gone again, right? Like there's that hole of emotion there. They cannot cry, so this is how they're processing their feelings, right? By like trying to tear the world apart, because they think that if they can tear the world apart and build it anew, that they can make things better that way. And like, I think as that like literal flood of information hits them, it's almost like a ripple that goes through all of the tattoos, where like the wings on the side of their neck almost hum like moth wings for a half a moment before like shuddering back into place. And they are just like completely taken aback, where I think they like fully like fall on the floor, and it's like just so clear that they're so fucking pathetic, right? Like they're in this dress in heels that they can't walk in. Their boyfriend just broke up with them, and I think they just like start like crying is the wrong word because no tears are coming out, so they're just like breathing in these like heavy, pathetic like heaves on the floor. And it's like very clear that they couldn't rip open the door now because they can't. They physically can't. They want to. They want to more than anything, but they just can't. And it's very clear that they can't.
As that is happening, as you kind of are breaking down, you staring down, Vicious, you notice Noma, the person that lives in this room, you can see that their hand is like shaking. Not out of fear, but in a sense of like they're trying to control something from coming out. And you swear, you just swear, you see their hair, which is like, it's very in a sense of like unkept or whatnot. It's kind of in a bun. You swear you see it almost like changing itself and curling into something that's a little bit longer and black.
Easy question that I feel like I know the answer to. Does the hint of like the changing in the hair look like what I saw in whatever the hell his name's was, like Vision?
I will say without rolling, yeah. You see, and the last thing you needed to confirm is you get that sort of same feedback off of another siphon in the room.
That's nuts. Yeah.
You see, the thing is, she gets it back too and immediately looks at you in concern, like almost like a deer. If somebody was like a hunter chasing a deer, looking dead at you of like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's a moment where because Vic took a condition earlier and I chose the one lustful. And I think there's a moment where there is like a horrifying smile on Vic's face, like a little too wide, a little too giddy, because in front of us is Eden crumbling. And I would like to unleash my darkness.
Please do. It's almost split second as that kind of going down. Eden, you're kind of broken. You see Vicious is like looking, and you, Carlisle, you are still staring, but you can see at the corner of your eye, you could see that. What is Vicious doing right now? James is like, why are you looking at Noma?
But I do have bonds. So I would like to use my last two bonds, I think. No, I have one more. But I would like to use my bond with Eden and my bond with Heaven to up me to a 9.
Here's my thing about Eden. I don't know if Eden's in the state to unless you're flashing back to something that will help you. I don't think Eden, if there's a flashback to something that might be helpful, but I don't think in this moment Eden's going to be able to help you do anything.
That's right. Wait, what do I need? An 8?
An 8 to 10. So,
oh, yeah, I only need to do one. So I'll use Heaven's bond because Heaven is, my bond is like the only one that knew me before the hunger got real bad. And I presume that the bond is kind of like one look over to Heaven to basically move Eden, like, hey, can you like move Eden, like using that bond. And Vic is like, got your ass, and splitting open like the mouths and the arms and like all over her neck. Vic is gonna unleash the dark and get past her defenses and inflict a condition.
Let me see. I'm trying to think, because you haven't got to this point yet, but this is a harbinger, which means they have their own conditions here.
Wild.
And I think they're gonna go with the condition brutal.
Oh no. and I get two. So costs are fun. So I want to gain the upper hand for now.
Fantastic. You kind of gain the upper hand. As you do manage to, you see that they at first managed to throw chemicals, as they had like a chemistry kit. They throw the chemicals on the floor. Doesn't cause a fire immediately as it kind of soaks everything. Eden, you kind of snap out of it immediately as you see like, what the hell? Karl as well, you snap out of it as you see Vicious, you immediately jump. Heaven, you're kind of getting in position here as you see Noma kind of go, please, I don't want to do this. Please, just go. I don't want to hurt you.
And there's a moment, because we're bug communicating. I think there's just like a vibration where Vic like jumps over the chemicals, like jumps behind Noma, was it? Like grabs their shoulders and just fuck it, tosses them out of a window. And it's like, tell that to the kid you murdered. And it's like chasing after them.
With that, you throw them, and you're a little bit high, so you can hear something crack as you see that on the floor. But as you do, you immediately see she gets up. As you see every part of their facial structure, bone, and everything begins to shape shift. Their hair begins to get long and black. You can see almost in a sense their lips become almost like in a sense of how you getting lipstick at the moment, but kind of gets more red in the moment. But as they're shifting into a different person, you see their skin begin to follow suit. As you begin to realize what they're the siphon of, as you notice the lights in the area begin to almost have the light energy and neon get sucked out of it as it begins to pour in their body, as it begins to become part of them, as you see them kind of begin to super speed almost into the forest, as you see what looks like to be almost like traces of their body, in the sense of like a light. If you take a picture, the light trace, you see the traces of their light running into the deeps of the forest. With that, I think, Misfoot, you see this as you're kind of walking through. You can see something gets thrown over. You can hear Vicious's voice, like, tell it to the kids you murdered. And then you see this person transform in super speed into the woods.
And I think seeing that, I like to imagine, if I may paint a picture, if Vic, you're looking out of the window, you just see Misfit like across the lawn, just like staring up at you, like looking up, trying to follow where this light trace came from and where this sound came from. And you're just looking like deer in headlights at each other, I think, from really high up. And having found y'all, I think Misfit just kind of like looks to the light trace, looks back at Vicious.
Well, yeah, let's fucking go. And Vic jumps out the window.
and then is gonna run towards the light trace.
What about everybody else? You're running towards the light traces? Yes.
I'm gonna watch. This is what they're hired to do.
Okay. With that, as you all proceed to go into the wood, I think the camera kind of pans off slightly a bit as you see that same angry individual in their sort of pickup truck look over at the entirety of what just happened. Scared shitless at first, but they get in the back of their trunk and you see they pull out a hunting rifle with them as they pursue as well. With that, you all cut into it. You see it is getting about maybe late afternoon. So it's not necessarily dark yet, but it's getting to that point. And as you guys are kind of running into the forest, I would say, to roll anything, I would say you, Professor, you notice it again. Especially kind of, you're like, yeah, this tracks. You can see that there is another partying happening. You don't necessarily think it may be students, but it seems to be mortals at the moment. As you see, they're kind of just getting ready for a party. They're not in full swing yet. So there's a couple people that are getting ready to have a little, forest, shindig at the moment. So with that in mind, as you're in the thick of this forest, you're kind of chasing after the light rays. What are we doing? In general, so it's all up to you if there's any particular order. It doesn't matter per se, but yes, Heaven.
How soon do we see Mr. Man with the hunting rifle?
You don't see him because you don't notice off camera. So he's just in the forest.
All right. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah. I think Vic is running with Misfit. Vic is like, they eat light or something. They're another siphon, and it's like running. Because Misfit's athletic, and I think Vic is like a monster TM. So it's just like Vic is probably letting a lot of the monstrosity out, considering where we are. So very Doc Ock, like the miasma is solidifying, and Vic is like all 6 legs crawling like a, not an octopus, but I don't know, bug, like a bug probably.
I think Vic is very fast in this form, and Misfit's just a guy, as athletic as they are. So they are, I think, struggling to keep up with Vic, but they're like doing the best. It's kind of one of those.
Put a hand out to hold your, like, have you, like, probably like because they're high up the ground, have like both arms under them while the 6 legs are crawling.
Okay, yeah. I'm just being like held up and carried. All right, that's chill. I'm just being carried like a sack of potatoes. While we go through, and I think like as you say that, Misfit just asks, "Okay, what's the plan? What are we doing? Are we apprehending? Are we killing? What's going on?"
I mean, they killed that kid, probably for the most part.
You're not even sure if this is the murderer?
No, look, they were transformed, and I saw them in the transform part in the vision because they have bugs in their body or something. I don't know.
What vision are you talking about?
I can get visions. I can like eat people's memories.
And I think this is like conversation is happening as we're going through into the forest, trying to track where this person is. I think if Vic is carrying Misfit, then Misfit has given up on like running, obviously, and instead is trying to be the eyes and like ears for Vic, like helping and trying to help navigate. So whatever Vic does, I want to basically be support for Vic's actions and try to make sure that they're on the right track.
Fantastic. So that's what you two are doing. Heaven, you're kind of following suit. With that, what about Eden? What are you doing? And I get to you, Carlax. Carlisle.
I like to
Carlax.
Yeah, Carlax.
I like to think the twins are together. I think Eden is moving like very unstably, like, but they've given up the high heels. I think they're like turning into sand and reappearing like in different places now. They're like kind of like form disappears out of one place and reappears out of another, where they like every time they use more and more of their powers, they move more and more like Tyr does, right? Where they're like turning like completely into sand and then like reappearing again like a few feet ahead. So that's like kind of how they're moving, like in tandem with Heaven.
Look, you don't have to do this. I
don't have to. I'm going to, and I want to.
I don't think that's the best course of anything right now. I think you should just fall back.
You want me to promise that I'll stand behind you?
No, because you're the king of fucking loopholes.
Vic needs help.
Yeah, she does, but I think we can talk about that later.
We can talk about everything later. Heaven. Please, I missed you.
I missed you too. And that's why I'm a little more particular than usual about losing you.
I don't think I can be lost anymore.
Oh, that's a little arrogant, but okay. And then it's like speed along.
Fantastic. And what about you, Professor? What are you doing?
I think with the idea of like someone approaching to shoot one of these students, another party, another tragedy, I think that's going to activate my move, Tragedy's Long Shadow. When you're in a tense situation, you see echoes of a past tragedy. Tell the keeper what you fear will happen. And I fear that students will die and they will march upon this school, which is like the only safe haven we have left.
Fantastic. As you guys are all running towards this light trace, you see it kind of stops at a moment, and you are in the thick of the woods. And then you hear it begin to echo, just a crackling laugh. Oh, little mythics, little mythics. One lost power, one gained power, one is lost and one is hungry. As you see the light ray, you can only catch almost like the after effect or the echo of them. What did you intend to find out here? What is your plan, little mythics? You see, they're kind of circling you almost. Oh, I'm surprised you got off your ass to get here, little Eden. Oh, and you, Vicious. I'm glad you're here. I had a whole plan schemed out, but it's good that you came. I just didn't want you to have guessed.
Who are you?
I'm Noma's better half. I protect them. Think of me as the immune defense system, if you will. Jessica's the name.
Oh, that was actually your name. Okay, great. This is going to be a lot less confusing. What do you want? What do you before we get into the whole bullshit, what do you want with me? What do you want? Everyone always fucking wants something. What do you fucking want?
Want does not want, needs does not need. These are questions. I will answer them. See, Noma was weak, until Edie came. Oh, Edie, so strong, so handsome, so beautiful, until Eden. They couldn't live. They couldn't live their life. They regrets, and they left us in the cold dark. It was cruel. It was hopeless, devoid of light. And then I came. I helped. I showed them they could be strong, and I murdered the student. As you see, they somehow have managed to get the body bag of Jamie and begin to sprinkle it around you guys, almost like in a circle. I consumed him, made us stronger. But it's not enough. We needed help. The good professor said if we wanted to be stronger, we needed more of us. So hard to find good help, let alone other siphons.
Good professor. And God, what is his name? Deva?
Dara.
Dara. Vic kind of thinks to Dara immediately, and I'm assuming Carlisle is here, and looks to Carlisle. Your fucking staff is corrupt.
We'll deal with that after we deal with him.
Deal with Bessie, are we sure it's not him? Are we sure it's not Carlisle?
I don't know, GM, storyteller.
It's not you.
Is it Carlisle?
It's not Carlisle.
I tried. I begged.
I begged.
I was
no.
like, damn,
so
wait, are we about to
funny.
get fucking, like...
Double crossed. That'd be good.
Not you, Carla, but you begin to think, and Dara, you just hear, oh, not the pretty little Mothman, never the pretty little Mothman, always so concerned for his students, always so there and heart bleeding. You see, they stop almost like skid. As you see what looks like to be their full form, it's almost a mix between Noma and this Jessica figure. But they're both of like this starlight skin, various colors swarming on their body. It's almost half and half. It seems like more Jessica's in control right now. Their hands are like claw-like. You see they're seeping off this almost weird energy and goes, well, enough talk. I think it's time we divide and conquer. As you see, she points to Dara, who is hidden in the trees. And you immediately see he puts his hand on the ground, and all of you are immediately separated as fire begins to the entirety of this forest. You all have to step back, and for the moment, I will say, Misfoot, you're by yourself in one section of the forest that's kind of on fire. Eden as well. And as well as Heaven. I will say Vicious and the Professor, you managed to just barely get together. So right now it's you two in one section. As you begin to hear almost like coming out the woods, just a... There's something inside these woods along with you as you are divided and everything's on fire.
Are we
And I
back to
think-
back?
I fully figured we were back to back.
Fantastic. With that, you see Dara is going for you, Professor. As you see, you know them to be a druid, but they are very skilled in transmutation. As you see that they begin to float down and kind of go, sorry, Professor, but us siphons gotta stick together. As you see, they put their hands in the ground and begin to cement it. They cement you in place for right now, so no condition anything right now, but they got you in place at the moment. Vicious, I think you can dodge out of that because of your where you are, so you're not affected at the moment. So going with you two right now, I'll give it up to you, Professor, first. What do you want to do as you're currently in the moment, kind of like cemented into the ground?
It's up to you, Vic. Like I said, this school had a place for you, and it always will. And I'm going to activate my special move, Tragedy Will Not Claim Another. I've grown attached to my fellow monsters and care deeply about their fates. When a PC is in peril, I'm going to mark Ruin to appear in a superior position or bearing a golden opportunity and gain a bond with them. And I would actually, if possible, I would like to add my superior position as I transform into a swarm of moths and surround Vic almost like a spectral armor.
Fantastic. So, Vicious, you see, it just turns into moths. Freaking weird, but we can't get into that right now. As you see, the professor is getting ready to wind up what looks like to be a fireball in their hand as they're getting ready to just shoot it in your direction. What are you doing?
I think at this point, the only thing I really can do is unleash the dark.
Fantastic. Please do that for me.
Vic is covered in moths.
You totally have moth wings, by the way.
Oh, that's metal as hell. Vic is like a multitude of bugs right now.
Love to see.
What can we? Oh, fuck. Oh, wait. Bonds. I need it. I need two.
I will say for this
You
instance,
have one bond for me.
You do have one bond for him, so you can add a plus or minus depending on your scenario. So,
What do I need? Math hard.
8 to 10. You can get 11 plus, but I doubt that's the scenario you're in right now.
I don't think so. I got scraped by 8.
8. With that, you get to pick 2 of those lovely little. I'm sorry. But yeah, you choose 2 of those conditions there. So what do you? Well, not conditions, but the 2 of the things there. So please let me know.
Yeah, I guess I'll inflict a condition, and get what I want from them.
What are you trying to do for this? You trying to? So I'll let you know the conditions because I think it might help you. Impatient, frightened, or regret are the 3 conditions that he has at the moment. Regret. Fantastic.
I think because of the moth wings, Vic has chosen to like wield their miasma in a different way, and very much like coating it in their hand like a mucus. Seeing they're gonna wind up a fireball, Vic is gonna like use their new moth wings to kind of maneuver because this feels natural to Vic. Vic used to be able to fly. Flying, it's like walking for Vic. So Vic just like speeds, hits an angle, and just like whips a bunch of miasma at this person to like almost like coat them Spider-Man style.
With that, you boosh, punch. You see that they get almost like in a sense of tearing off like flesh. You see they kind of hurt. As you see, they are not scared per se, but they're like, this was maybe not the move. As they're kind of retracting back, getting more of a defensive position. As that is happening, we go to Eden. Eden.
Damn it, I wish you wouldn't choose me.
Yeah. Right now, you are in the thick of the forest. It is a forest fire that's happening. So I don't think it's at the moment too bad. You do notice that the closer you get to the fire, your skin does get a bit glassy given your condition. So you do know you don't want to stay in here too much because it's like an oven and you're going to turn into glass. You don't know what's going to happen after that. So you're on a timetable here. With that, you do hear that the voice of them, they're around.
I think Eden in the kiln is gonna like pivot so they get a nice even roast, as one would say, and they're gonna like turn, like trying to track and follow now, because this is like survival mode right now. But like as they're turning, all of those like other universes get like layered over, where there are like a million different trees tessellating in the same place, like from this like vision of Carlisle, and there's still all of these like moths, like wings clouding their vision, like whether that's the heat or the smoke, like they don't really know. Here's what I'm gonna try to do, Chris. Here's what I'm gonna try to do. Edie is such a ghost in this place. Their presence is like haunting. They're haunting the narrative, one could say. I would like to try to reveal my heart as a move to try to call them to me.
Please do.
Okay.
I will say if you succeed, you will inflict a specific condition here that might be advantageous to you.
I'm going to spend 2 darkness tokens on this one.
Fantastic.
Lord help me if I could roll tonight. That's a 7.
7. With that, something interrupts or undermines the moment. As you're trying to get ready, you get sideswiped by something that comes straight from the ground. You see it's almost a quick instant, but it's almost like this almost insect combined with like a raptor-like creature with bug-like wings, that sort of same vicious teeth, their eyes a little bit more reptilian in nature, glowing on the sides, as it jumps you and begins to just scratch at you in the most vicious of natures. Please mark a condition for me.
I'm gonna, let's see. I'll decide. I'll tell you in a second what I'm choosing.
Yes.
Once my sheet decides to work.
As that is kind of happening, you do notice that the individual, Jessica, comes through, just looking at you from the heads down, just very jokingly, just, you're so pathetic and weak. I can't believe Edie was so concerned about this worthless piece of shit. Disappears into the forest, being an absolute menace to society.
I am gonna mark the vicious condition.
Fantastic. As that's happening with you, I think we will go over to Misfoot. Misfoot, again, heat. Used to be not a problem. You're human now, kind of. So that's slightly a problem. You see that Aussie is doing their best to temperature control to keep it okay for you, but since so much of your energy is going to emotional restraints, they can't regulate temp as well. So again, a matter of time for you as well to get out of this forest while you still can. So what are you doing in this instance? As you can hear Eden just giving some slight screams, not necessarily anything of like, they're fighting, but they're not in danger per se.
I think Misfit is one part fighting with Aussie internally, because Aussie's probably like frantically asking to like loosen the restraint so that more of the energy can go towards temperature control, and Misfit is just shutting her down. Is like, no, we can't do that. We'll be okay. We'll be fine. And I think they look around for the nearest tree that is tall and ideally not on fire. And if they can find one, Misfit is going to try to climb to the top of it really quickly.
Fantastic. I will say, as you're running, you notice this same like raptor creature is coming towards you. I will say, for your instance here, unleash your dark for me, please, to see if we're able to outmaneuver your way.
Do we have to?
Do we have to? I'm scared.
Do we have to?
It's all fun and games. A 4. With that, as you're trying to go, you get tackled by not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 of these creatures as you get encircled. And with that, they kind of almost like football tackle as they begin to go over you. You're not strong enough, as you see they're sort of scratching at you. It's almost like a meat grinder. Please get a condition for me, please, as you're getting clawed to death, kind of.
I think I'm gonna pick Raging, because today has been an absolute shit show. for Misfit. I think as they're getting clawed to death, it kind of reminds them of being ravaged by all the fucking zombies when he thought that he had found Tyr, when he thought that had happened. And today, of all days, Eden has just, I guess, decided that they never loved me anyway. So what? And I think they're getting so overwhelmed with this emotion, and it's just a lot. And I think what Misfit was going to try to do was to go and survey to find anyone else and to sort of try to make a beeline to them. And instead of that, if I may, Chris, I think maybe it is instinctual rather than actually like conscious of a decision in any way. But Misfit still has the tiniest sliver of connection to their family, to their old realm. They don't have any powers anymore per se, but they still maintain that connection. And if I am allowed to, I would like to call my dragon.
Fantastic. I'm going to spice it up a little bit here for you. As you try to focus on calling Garland, right? Something does come to help. And you do notice that Garland is kind of there, but someone else is there. And we'll get to that when we get back to you. With that, Heaven, you, I think in this scenario, are not really deterred by the fire. Given your state of what you are now, fire isn't that bad compared to everybody else here. So you have a little bit more free reign in terms of where you want to go. You do see that, Vicious and the professor are fighting off what seems to be magical mage, druid like professor there. You do notice Misfit seems to be fine. Something is coming to help them. But you also do notice that Eden right now is getting jumped by one of these like raptor-like insect creatures and is being scratched at the moment. Again, given their condition, you don't know if they're fine or not, but that's kind of how you're surveying everything right now.
I think that's like a fantastic juxtaposition of all this chaos in Heaven. Just like, this is why I didn't want them to come in the first place. And they're like treading through the fire casually into Ian's direction. It just looks at them, disappointed.
It's just this creature.
Heaven, please.
Please what?
I think like a sandy, like half of their arm kind of like comes skidding by before it like the sand like starts to reconnect with where their body is. There's no blood or anything. Heaven, please help me.
And there is a flood of new emotions never known to Heaven's face as Eden asks for help. Oh my God.
Enough with the... Can you just do it?
And all they do is just reach out and touch the thing. And I would like to use my ruin move, Desire Dressed as Faith.
What does that do? What does that do? What's that little thing?
You know well that worship comes from desire, selfish and cruel. When you touch a being, you may endue them with an uncontrollable desire for someone or something.
Fantastic. Who is the target?
Whatever the Namo Jessica thing, whichever.
Fantastic. So yeah, so with that, you see immediately kind of go, "What are you doing, you stupid creature?" You see they begin to fight and tussle with it. For the moment, I think it does provide an opportunity for whoever wants to take a pot shot. They're kind of at this moment having to deal with this creature, so they're kind of stuck in place at the moment. With that, going back to the professor and Vicious as you're dealing with Dara, I'll give you the hand first. As you see, he's kind of in a defensive position, trying to get what looks like to be roots to provide him like a wall of like nature to protect him at the moment. So what are you doing as he's preparing?
Ooh. I'm still like I'm still the swarm of moths. I'm still like trying to help them.
I will say it's openings. So again, it's roots.
Yeah.
Given your moths, you can go in, but then again, you won't be able to be with vicious anymore. So it's kind of like that.
That's okay.
It's up to you.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to unleash the dark, as I'm going to try to imbue vicious, with the future, the foresight that I have temporarily. I'm going to open that door for them.
Please do. Roll with that bad boy for me.
And I'm also going to spend my last token here.
Fantastic.
Oh no, I probably should not have done that. Oh well.
Yay. What happened?
I got a 12.
12. Oh, your control fall. Oh, this is perfect. Choose one, but the keeper describes the consequences. So they still get what happens, but something else happens after.
So I think what's going to happen is Vic's going to be able to get past their defenses, as like I imagine every time that the professor tries to attack them, you can almost see it like lines of where they might be, where they will, and you can just dodge out and create your like perfect reality, your perfect present.
Yeah, and I think it's just like it's a lot of following of like they like swing a root or something and Vic kind of moves and just punches them in the mouth. It's like it's very much like Vic's probably not even using a lot of their like hungry powers, just fully punching the shit out of this professor because because Vic is just pissed. Vic is annoyed. This sucks. Like the siphons are being weird.
Yeah. With that, I think you're punching. But as you do, you begin to hear a voice as you see sort of the half head of the student, Jamie, begin to move ever so slightly, echoing as you hear it say, "Is that you, dear sister?" And it kind of gives you pause of like, what the hell? With that, as that's kind of happening, you see, as you stop, gives Dara the moment they need. As you see, they kind of, with that, use the earth, and you kind of understand why they're the earth siphon. As you see, they are able to mold it into whatever way, shape, or form they want. As you see, just a fist, whoop, uppercut you out of their little hole. You don't get a condition because you were able to do that, but you kind of get pushed out. You see he begins to recoil back near the woods and kind of goes, "I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but can you just please do your job?" As he's kind of screaming to Jessica. With that, Eden, it is now your turn. As you're able to get back up, Jessica is kind of, dealing with the creature at the moment, so there is a pot shot there.
I think Eden does kind of stagger upright, looks at Heaven, and I think instead of like bleeding, right, it's kind of like the sand is almost like pushing their body outward and in, and they kind of just like reform it back up. And it's almost silly that like some of the sand underneath their nose is red now, right? Like it is trickling blood, or the idea of it, or like trying to make a mirage of it on their skin. And I think they look at Heaven. Do you wish we were different? Do you wish we were better?
This is really the time for this question.
It's just, I can't stop thinking about it.
Yes, I do, with all my heart. That's all I've ever wanted since we were Mythics.
If we were different. What if the whole world was different?
Eden.
What if the whole
I'm not
world
entertaining
was
you.
Heaven.
No.
Why not?
Because I know where it goes.
Where does it
I'm
go?
not here for your fanaticism. I'm not here for your energy. I'm not here for your little tirades. I'm the last person you can poison.
Oh shit, that stings. Oh shit, that stings.
On the heels of today? On the heels of today?
Oh shit, that stings.
God damn. This is Eden.
Can we put me in later later in the initiative order?
I will say, yeah, you stun them. They take
Yeah.
just vicious mockery
Can
over
I
here.
give myself
Just
a condition because fuck. Can I
please,
give
and I
myself
think
a lonely condition because that
I'll say
shit
take
hurt.
4 darkness tokens and get the condition. I'm sorry, that one hurt. That was felt. Lonely AF.
Well, this was
With
kind of unintentional, but like,
yeah.
how many tokens I get? Phil, others are beneath me.
Oh, 4. I'm sorry. That's a 4 on each side because that was rough everywhere. No one came out of that unscathed. With that, cutting over to Misfoot. See, the twins are having a conversation. Something must have happened because you can see Eden with that look in their eye. But as you do, you see that Garland does come down, but you see he launches somebody off of him first and manages to take 3 of these individual raptor-like creatures out. As you see, he smashes into them with his elbow, almost like as a lance, into their necks before wiping them off. As you can see, sort of Radu is here, kind of came in to help. He kind of goes, I'm very sorry that I'm late. I had to take care of something, but I am here now. You see when the creatures tried to get him, you see he chokes holds it and just closes his hand as he just rips the throat out.
And Misfit has this absolute manic energy in their eyes right now where they are going absolutely fucking insane with anger and grief and despair and Radu, I am so glad that you're here. And I think Misfit holds out a hand for Radu to grab to help him up. And he gets up and gets, like, I think it's like really close to Radu in that moment as they are wreathed by fire around them, these raptors dead, Radu having killed them. And Misfit actually, I think, like, having been brought up, like, wraps an arm around Radu's waist, I think, to, like, stabilize themselves. And they ask him, how did you find Garland?
You see that he kind of goes, well, I have a connection to dragons and kind of pets.
And sees, I think, very clearly that, like, Garland and Radu have some sort of, like, positive connection. And he goes up to Garland, I think, like, nuzzles Garland a little bit, and then jumps up onto his back, holds a hand out for Radu. You coming with?
Fine. As you set a grab on, you can see there's a multitude more bugs, but then they kind of stop as they see just Garland just getting ready to just scorch off.
And I think Misfit specifically, I can see that Garland is about to do that, and I think just kind of like stops him and says, "Not here. This forest, I think, is burned down enough. Let's just get everybody, okay?"
As you see, he kind of follows in whatever direction you want. I think going back to that, you see as you're kind of moving back, Eden, you're kind of stunned, but then you can see that Jessica deals with the individual. You see they immediately throw a stone over Heaven's head at a super fast speed that knocks them unconscious as they fall to the ground. You see they look in their eye and go, enough! And they charge straight for you, Vic. As you see, they sort of grab you, holding you onto the ground. And you can see, as almost like looking in a mirror, their mouths begin to open up all over their body, more of celestial-like teeth. I need to be stronger, which means you need to be consumed. They're going to bite the living daylights out of you and do what you do, but to you. You have an opportunity here to stop that from happening. Real quick, Nick, Professor, please. What is your idea?
Because I'm surrounding, Vic. When they go, because they say that out loud. I need to consume. I would like to flood all my moths into their mouth, and you hear consume this, and I'll take the damage if need be.
I will say I will let you know if you do this and you fail your roll, very strong possibility you die here. So I will let that know.
That's
This
cool.
will be,
As long as I get to,
yes.
as long as I get my dying line. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a power through the darkness because you're going ultimate here. You're going ham.
Yeah.
So roll this. If you fail, you're dead. I'm very honest with you. So if that's okay,
That's all right. That's
roll
cool.
that for me.
Do I get a cool line if I die though? Do I get to say
Yeah,
one of my last words?
you can get one last
that's what-
moment every day.
That's what I went.
We haven't done death yet. I gotta.
Can't want to see this happen.
I can't add bonds or anything, right?
I don't think so, unless you have.
Nah, let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go. What you
talking
get?
a death
Well,
roll.
Am I gonna be the first guest to die in this show? I hope.
I think so. I think you're the first person to.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's.
That's a 4.
What's the last thing you say before you sacrifice your life to give an opportunity for someone that you just met today of all days?
I think we're like in the spectral cosmos, me and Vic, and I look at them and smile, and it's actually like my full form. And I put a hand on their shoulder. This is where my story ends. But your story continues on. But I will give you one last parting gift. Peek behind the last door. And in almost glory, Carlisle raises up into the air as moths begin to escape from his eyes and mouth. And you hear, in the tapestry of time, a celestial ballet unfolds, where metallic whispers and ancient tales are told, a looming castle, secrets deep within, a cosmic conflict, a fateful spin. A mother's cry rings out, a defiant destiny, her proclamation she shouts. Her child sleeps, eternally waiting for mother to open its eyes. She must shut the eyes of another.
With that, you see the go. Yes. You see they shiver as you see they begin to grasp, and you see what is possibly left of Noma disappears as Jessica takes over. Huh. Looks like I don't need you. You see they kind of throw you over, fling you across and go, see you later, Mythics. I can't wait to see you again. As you see they rush out of here with new speed, purpose, and power. As they do, you see the fire kind of dies down. You see the creature slowly begin to retract back into the darkness, retreating, and you begin to hear something in almost like a unison-esque voice. As you see, it comes out of Dara's mouth, almost uncontrollably, like it's not in his control. And whatever is speaking is almost killing them. As you see, they begin to decompose in a sense, as they look to you, Vicious. Sweet, sweet sister, how strong you have grown. Is it truly you, Vicious?
And I think Vic, who probably got thrown into a tree, splitting it or like crunching into it, kind of pulls herself up and walks towards Dara. Sister, I don't have any fucking siblings.
You hurt me so. I wish you to be there, sister. You need to come home to Nemo to witness ascension, to witness glory, to witness the brood. promise me you will come to Nemo, sister, and I will spare them.
Who? Spare who?
I will spare Casey.
I'm going to come to Nemo. Sure, I'll come home. And I'm gonna eat you. Whatever the fuck this brood is. And I think there's a moment for Vic that is this rage, this spilling of rage, this anger that she doesn't feel often anymore. Not like she used to. And it spills out. And I think the decomposing body of Deva, who is dying, question mark, just
He's being repurposed, to put it
Yeah.
kindly.
and I think Vic, like, kind of taking the vibe check of this, notices this, kind of lets the rage spill out, and just kind of like knocks his head off, like trying to stopping this.
Cut the head off, and you see it still speaks. I can't wait to see you again, chickadee. As you see, they. And that is a word you haven't heard in quite some time. But for now, that's an impossibility, nor is it a concern. With that, I would like to go around the table for those alive to give your last thoughts and scenes. Starting off with Miss Foot.
I think the last thing is that Misfit had specifically called Garland in order to help the group find an escape, a very quick one. And so as everything kind of wraps up, everybody sees Garland circling up in the air, and Misfit comes down and I think scoops everyone up one by one. Picking up, I think, Heaven first, seeing that she is knocked out, picking up Eden with them since they're together. And then picks up Vic, and I think there is this montage, like a tableau, I think, of a conversation that is had, asking about Carlisle, and the realization that Carlisle is not here anymore.
With that, Eden, what is your last thoughts and scenes as you are there with Heaven's side? She knocked out, but they're conscious, not dead.
It's simple arithmetic, I think. Very easy to focus on. Get Heaven to safety. Get all of us to safety. Wherever it is that we end up, whether it's the dorms, whether it's in the hotel, whether it's at the car, wherever it is. That buzzing behind Eden's ears, that hum of the moths, like, fades out, finally. Still lingering on the edges of the periphery. And there is something boiling inside of them. And they find their way to Vic's room. And they just, like, fist on the door. And the only thing they're thinking about is sitting on the back of Misfit's pet dragon, watching Radu's back, watching Radu's broad shoulders bump against Misfit's. It's all they're seeing behind their eyes. And they just knock on Vic's door.
I think that is a perfect place for you, Vic, as you hear this door knocking.
I think Vic is in another world right now, thinking about that pet name, Chickadee, and thinking about the fact that another person who probably was too good for this world just up and died right in front of them, like so many always do. And I think Vic is thinking about that door, the one in ED's room or another one. And I think the thing that brings Vic out of it is that knocking. And Vic probably expects it to be Misfit, maybe like, or maybe even Heaven. The last person does not expect it to be Eden, and Vic just kind of like, yeah, what do you want? And like opens the door and sees Eden.
Vic. Eden doesn't look well. Vic. I was thinking just now. I was just thinking that it wasn't always God, right? It wasn't always God. First it was Naomi. That's why I came back. I didn't come back for him. No, I didn't come back for him. I came back for Naomi because I wanted to kill her. And she ended up dead, but it never really worked out quite the way we wanted it to. Did it? Isn't that wild? how I can plan for every fucking eventuality, except the one that actually comes out where I have fucked up every good thing in my life. Isn't that wild?
It would be wild to everyone else but me, Eden.
I know, that's why I'm here.
What do you want to commiserate? Because I think I've got enough misery for both of us. Another person decides to fuck off and die for the Mythics, and we're left here to do what? Live this shitty life where our partners leave us for some grander purpose, and we have to sit here watching, rebuilding, being better, or I guess in your case, worse. What do you want?
I want to fuck.
And I think there is a like a record scratch freeze frame. You. And there's like thinking. Sounds fucked up. Sure.
It's the most fucked up thing I could possibly think of. I want to try to feel something.
Okay. And I think there is a moment of purpose in Vic's eyes for like the first time all day. And Eden's like, I want to feel something. And Vic is going to make them regret saying that because there is such an intimacy in the way that Vic feeds this time, in the way that Vic unleashes it all. Usually it's little mouths that open up on Vic's arms and like eyes. This time it's one big one, like splitting open from neck to crotch, one mouth opening, letting that miasma seep into the rest of the room, destroying almost everything, enrapturing Eden, eating like chewing the sheets, the walls, the room, whatever room, wherever we were staying, looks way worse for wear after this. And I think like the eyes for the entirety are just watching. Every single eye that could open on Vic is open and aware, almost trying to make Eden regret this decision because Vic knows it's not going to make her feel better.
With that, there is one more person before I get to the last scene here. Professor, what is even though you are dead, what is the one thing about the Academy that must still be said?
The sun rises, and the Academy glimmers in its light. And with it, it is known by all that that dark future has been averted.
With that, we go to one quick last scene as we find ourselves somewhere underground as we see the figure of Jessica coming in, walking what looks like to be around these pools of sack, almost viscous-like material. As you see, they turn to Demise, that sort of white-fleshed individual. Did you get it? Of course I got it. You doubt my abilities. I am better than you. You see, they almost flare up. How dare you? I had the upper hand and there was a plan. Plans. I kicked their ass and took the power of quite the powerful beastie. Well, I tell you, see, they almost like wolves begin to growl and you hear, enough. It's a figure that we can't see, but only the eyes, red and green. We have what we need. And now my children can grow. As you see, Jessica hands off the energy they gathered and puts it into something. For soon, Vicious will not fight us, but join us. For the time of ascension, the time of my children, the time of the brood is soon. As the camera peers away of what looks like to be hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of sacks carrying these creatures, as it cuts with one of them cutting their way out and a claw coming out. And that is where we shall end for this episode. Yay! With that, I gotta get real quick because I know cast members have to do some stuff real quick. So with that, I'll go straight into intro, starting off with Hamna. Do your outro, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. I am halfway on the screen. That's fine. Don't worry about it. So I was Misfit tonight. Misfit is sad and angry and broke up with their boyfriend. What have I done? Follow me on Twitter and places to see me and stuff. This is the only show I'm on right now, so I guess come back next week for more pain. And with that, I will pass it over to C.
Literally, why would you do that is my only question. Hi everyone, my name is C. I use they them pronouns. You can find me making very trans, very gay on the internet at C Plays RPG. Tonight I had the absolute pleasure of playing the worst person in the world, otherwise known as Eden, who uses they he pronouns, who got broken up with, had a meltdown, and then made it everyone's problem. Literally everyone's problem. So they're well adjusted. Saturdays, 8 p.m. US Eastern Time, Transplanar RPG. You can see players playing characters just as well adjusted as Eden, I would even say. I would even go so far as to say, maybe not yet, but they could be. So tune in every week to see if they get worse. Which, spoiler alert, they probably will. So that's been me. I'm in stuff. Check it out online. CJ?
Hi, everyone. It is me yet again, CJ, playing Vic, who I still stand by is the most normal. And that is only shown again today. If you like what I do, you'll love what I do everywhere else, most likely. You can find me on the Nameless domain every Tuesday, basically every other Tuesday, a couple of times a month, doing my new show with scary dog friend Josephine. Shots. It is a mini-series anthology where we just play a bunch of games. You don't have to drink the show up because I sure as shit don't. Outside of that, you can find me here on the Mythic Initiative every Thursday. And outside of that, who knows? Who cares? Cheers. And I'm going to pass it to someone that's not me.
Hey everyone, I was Nick. You can find me on all socials at Nobleman Nick. I played Carlisle today, and just want to thank Chris. That was an awesome, fun time that we just had. I enjoyed that profusely. You can find me on future shows coming up. Right now, I'm editing. I'm usually over at Gehenna Gaming as the producer as well creative director. We're editing the Mass and the Nyarlathotep playthrough of Call of Cthulhu right now, and then you can also find me in our release of Neon Exodus Evangelion, hopefully coming in the October region. So been fun at work there, and I just want to thank you everyone for welcoming me and having a great time as a guest star tonight.
We love to see it. And then there was little old me. Hello everyone. I was your keeper for these preceding my brain is already skedaddled here. For these preceding evenings, there we go, English. You can find me on the Twitter at VO_Colon, COLON. In terms of what I'm working on, I got this right here, and I'm working on something else as well. Fatebreaker. We'll see. We're turning it out, so we'll hopefully we'll have more details soon. But beyond that, we hope you have a lovely evening. And as always, stay weird, everyone. See you next week.